Hello, everybody, and welcome to Telling Tales. We make atmospheric TTRPG streams here on the internet for you. Aren't you so very lucky? Tonight is Blades in the Dark. We've been playing this for a while. It's a lovely industrial fantasy nightmarish crime thriller type thing, and each session is its own score and downtime, its own kind of contained little story. So there's no real need to have watched it before, but I'm sure you'd get enjoyment if you did just that as well. As per usual, our stream manager for tonight is Steve, who will be hanging around in the background doing rules queries and cam and art and chat and all that kind of stuff. So if you end up banned from chat, it's probably this guy has done it, and quite rightly. Whatever you did was awful.
Yes.
So there
Don't
we
do it
go.
again.
In an instant, no remorse. Thanks, Steve. And let me run through some quick promo before we start introducing our players for tonight. So you're watching this either on Twitch or on YouTube. Why not check out the other? And to do that, we have a bunch of links down below. Alongside those are links to our social media, to our Discord if you want to join up and talk to us about all things role-playing and all things telling tales. We also have a Patreon. If you want to throw some extra support our way, you can do it there and get things like character creation videos, GM notes, access to the patrons-only area of our Discord, all that fun stuff. We typically run 3 weekly campaigns, 3 weekly streams here on Twitch. Monday nights is Call of Cthulhu, Tuesday nights is Blades in the Dark, and Wednesday nights is typically Simbroom, but we won't be streaming Simbroom tomorrow evening because we'll be taking part in the Twitch strike, marked out as hashtag a day off Twitch, in order to raise awareness and show solidarity with the BIPOC Twitch creators who've been hit hard by hate raids recently. So no Simbroom for us tomorrow. We'll be back next week with it. We also run monthly one-shots, typically on the first Saturday of every month, although not always. There's a bunch of those available as VODs over on our YouTube, and the next one of those, which is run by one of our players tonight, Pierre, will be taking place on Saturday, the 11th of September, and that's going to be Dungeon World, which is sort of cooperatively improv-y fantasy stuff. I don't quite know myself because I've never played it, but he assures me that it's wonderful. So that'll be very good. So first off, before we get started with our regular players and our recaps, we have a guest star tonight, returning to the Blades in the Dark stage after a couple of weeks away after his first guest slot. We have Chris. Hey, it's a Chris. How you doing?
I'm exhausted, Matt. I'm gonna level with you. I'm exhausted.
Good. That'll get you in the mood for Blades in the Dark, right?
Yeah, it'll get me in that kind of cloying underbelly where what you're breathing isn't exactly air anymore, kind of.
Exactly. I have days like that, and by that I mean years, and by that I mean my 30s.
It's too real. They're here for escapism. Eject
at once. So Chris will be playing Oriel, who is a sometime whisper for the Keepers, someone who interacts with and wards off / summons the spiritual entities of Doskvol. Spooky person.
Spooky friend. Your spooky friend.
Absolutely. And to run through last week's score and also introduce the other players. First off, let's bring on Justin. Justin plays 3 sheets, the Keeper's resident hunter of folks. Yes, hound and hunter and tracker and all that kind of thing. Justin, tell us about the setup for the score last week.
Yep, good score last week. Valeris, who is a friend of 3 sheets, came up and said, this person who you scared and intimidated on a previous mission, they've been going around trying to find you. Maybe you should pop over to this event that they're going to on a restored ship, some kind of auction or exhibition or party, and see if you can find a way of shutting them up. And so that's what we did.
That's pretty much what happened. You went to the Cephalophore, a kind of pleasure ship out in the harbour run by Lord Skurlock, and where a kind of big card tourney was happening. but there were multiple things to do other than that there, as Pierre found out. Pierre, who plays Echo, our resident lurk, sneaks lady and thief type. What did you do on the Savala 4, Echo?
I mean, I had one mission, which was to get coin. This was a party filled with many rich people, and in fact, the cover that we were using was a jeweler named Emmeline, who was going to pretend like we were jeweler's assistants, and so I used this opportunity to take her arm, and she took us back to the jeweling area where various other jewelers were showing off their wares and not watching where they put down that gemstone, and various rich customers were putting things in their back pockets and such. And as I tried to shut my mouth from the floor, I basically stole as much as I could, which turned out to be some very, very expensive gems. And that was a glorious time indeed.
It was a good time to be an Echo.
Yes, it was cut short a little by some individuals later, but you know, a good time. A good time.
So altogether, quite a flawless little sting. And to talk us through the actual core of what you were actually there to do, deal with the magistrate's assistant you had deceived in the past, stop her dealing with the bill hooks and telling them that you were responsible. Let's bring on John, who plays the cutter of the keepers. Just a big old thumpy lad. Big old thumpy lad. And Bricks too. So, John, why don't you tell us what happened?
Well, while Echo was down under decks doing what Echo does best, Bricks, Three Sheets, and Silver went to try and track down this magistrate's assistant, as Three Sheets and Bricks had both previously spoken to her, and also because Silver is the talky member of the group. Silver put herself in the group that the magistrate's assistant was part of and charmed her wonderfully, partly through assistance of her beautiful silver cape, which was of particular fascination to the magistrate's assistants. So at Silver's suggestion, they went off to a private part of the deck to investigate Silver's cape closer, at which points Three Sheets and I followed along behind. Silver then revealed that she wasn't just here to talk about the cape, and that maybe the magistrate's assistant should stop asking so many questions about a certain group of people who may have been previously involved in something. At which point, the magistrate's assistant noticed me casually leaning against the railing of the ship in a not quite threatening presence, and she very much agreed, quite obligingly, to forget anything about the keepers whatsoever. And we all went away happy.
Yep.
And she went away terrified.
Yep. Objectives thoroughly achieved. Successful night all round, really. The downtime didn't have anything of massive note other than your cohort or a member of your cohort, Nicholas, managed to, get a bit too rough-handed with someone again and managed to kill a member of the Deathline Scavengers. And you decided on this occasion, as opposed to the last one, to kind of be a bit more humble about it. And I believe you lost some rep. Rather than engage in any kind of unpleasantness with the Deathland Scavengers. So yeah, that's about it. That was last week. As for the score you've selected this week, so Cersei, the second in command of the Grinders, that group of former Scovlan refinery workers turned somewhat violent gang, has sent word that the Grinders are looking to work with a reliable crew such as yourselves again. The oil-spattered missive said that the matter is very urgent, will require a journey along the coast, and that they're approaching you first because they want you to bring along a friend, specifically Brick's friend Marlene, the pit fighter who Brick's often spars with and bets on, and has said that she will be paid handsomely if she agrees to come along. Having this in mind, I think it'd be quite a. Do you want to role play you talking to Marlene Bricks, or do we want to skip past that and go straight to the sort of setup? It's entirely up to you.
I think I'm happy to skip past it unless you think Marlene would need convincing.
Marlene definitely does not need convincing to do something for which she is being offered a large amount of coin. So,
in which case, I think it will just be a very short, "Oi, we've got a job for you. Let's go punch each other for a bit."
When you will have approached her, she will have been sat on her own in the fighter pit, as she often is. People find her a little strange and off-putting, and yeah, she gladly comes with you. So let's pick up this story. And let's pick it up with your meeting with Cersei. And this meeting is taking place in the docks, but not in the, I think it was kind of an abandoned warehouse where you last met him. This isn't that. This is, in fact, a ramshackle, decrepit building of uncertain provenance, situated underneath one of the loud, crackling electro rail lines in the docks. It's used for transporting cargo back and from the docklands, and quite frequently overhead there's like a huge rattle that seems almost like an earthquake in this rough building as one of the electro rail transports goes overhead. The road outside is rough and disheveled, and there's a smell of ozone and electroplasmic discharges from the rail overhead. Outside as well, there is some kind of street crier or prophet of doom wailing away on a nearby corner about the inevitable fate of a city of sin such as Doskvol. And this is the atmosphere you find yourself in as the three of you arrive. And we should have said we don't have Sam today. We don't have Silver today. But as you arrive, you see that Cersei is not there yet. But lurking in the shadows in the corner is a hooded figure that you recognize as the Whisper Oriel.
I take it that's your friend? The one we worked with before?
Friend is a close term.
Okay.
I'll give a nod across to Oriel and gestures them over.
I'll slink across in the manner of a scoundrel.
Oh, I like their style already.
Marlene is sort of with you and lurking at the back and looking around and saying, do these things always take place in such a unpleasant little location?
Yeah, pretty much.
You'll get used to it.
At least there aren't any goats this time.
I am not happy when you say that. I sort of kind of shrink a little bit.
I understand we are heading down the coast.
From the sound of it. Take it you don't know anything else?
I know only that there is a job, and I could do with the coin.
As you say this, you all hear footsteps coming through the cracked and open doorway to this building. And turning around, you see wading their way slightly through the puddles on the floor are a number of grinders. At the head of them is Cersei, which I think we have described him before, but he's slim and somewhat frail seeming might be the wrong term. He looks like he's been ill for quite a long time, and he comes in on a pair of crutches and looks around and kind of blinks as his eyes adjust to the darkness before he sees you. He is flanked by another individual, an individual you've heard of rather than interacted with, called Derek, who has a reputation as being a very tough individual indeed on the streets of the docks. He is huge and very kind of worn looking, the kind of guy who looks like a couple of decades older than he perhaps is, and he's dressed head to toe in like quite form-fitting sort of engineer's leathers, with an oil refinery leather apron over the top of that. So kind of everything he's wearing kind of glints ever so slightly in the light that comes through the gaps in the roof.
I take it you're the muscle?
I give Echo a very strange look at that.
Derek kind of glances over at Echo and says, "I hope so."
So what's the job?
Cersei swings forward on his crutches and says, "Yes. Well, like I say, it's urgent. It needs doing tonight. That's why I brought this lot with me." Derek stands there. A few kind of grinders stood behind him. There's a ship, an old beached warship up the coast, abandoned 20, 30 years now. We want it, and we know that we can't refloat the thing and get it operational tonight, but what we can do is try and make the area safe for our crews to come in and do it. So here's what's happening. You'll go in there, you're making the place safe, and then Derek and his lads are staying behind to keep a hold of it. Do I have to explain why we have a whisper?
Certainly not to me.
Obviously, it's out beyond the lightning barriers. And we've had reports on our original scout of the location. Yeah. You're gonna need them. So get yourselves back to your lighthouse. Get yourself equipped up for dealing with what you're going to deal with. And get down the coast. Derek will show you where.
Perfect.
Right. You don't need me anymore. He turns around and slowly makes his way out of the rooms. You can hear like his crutches sort of retreating away outside. Derek is looking around at you and kind of idly tapping. He has like a flute tucked into a pocket on the leather apron, and he seems to be almost kind of idly tapping on that as he kind of looks and sort of tries to take seems to be taking the measure of all of you.
I kind of size myself up to him. Just want to I'm not trying to start anything. I just kind of mentally want to know where we stand.
You are very, very slightly larger than him.
It's all right then.
We don't have a problem then.
Otherwise, you'd have to die. Yeah, clearly this is a score of some urgency. You have to get yourself prepared and head down the coast. You're fairly early in the evening, but clearly says he's expecting this to be done by what passes for dawn in Doskvol, in a city and a land inflicted with constant eternal night. So you probably don't have many, as opposed to most scores. I can't imagine you making too many preparation rolls for this. But and not having too much time for either. But what do we want to do?
I would like to either have done. Actually, I could probably have done this before we even met this guy, which was do some digging into. Because I think we knew that there was a previous attempt on this, or did we? Or is that something different?
This is completely fresh news to you.
Okay, fair enough. So
I know what you're referencing, though. There was a mission I gave you that ran out of time to go up the coast and do something. That was actually something different.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, in that case, I guess just maybe going with Derek, surveying the initial place, seeing entrances and exits.
I don't think going and surveying it first is a it's going to take you taking the trip there and coming back and doing what you need to do is going to take the night.
Okay.
Actually, just going there first and coming back will mean it ain't going to happen tonight.
Sure.
It's a couple of hours away.
Yeah, but isn't the okay? Sure. So I guess doing some sort of well, actually, I don't really know anything about ghosts. Maybe my initial reaction would be to try to find anyone who's willing to sell me various items that can protect me against bad spirits, superstitious or not.
Sure.
I am.
In a similar manner to how in our very first score you tried to get a ghost away from you with I believe a small blood-drenched totem.
Yes,
of some kind, which did work, but who knows if it was the totem that did it or just whatever happened.
Yeah, I think I'll be turning that up to 11 and probably for less effect.
Yeah, because Echo...
Because I'm freaked out.
Yes, not particularly happy probably at the prospect of going and dealing with ghosts. Yeah, that's absolutely fine then. Then what shall we make a roll to see how well you do in acquiring such things? What do you think you might roll for that?
Okay. It doesn't feel like I'm not stealing. I'm not. I don't really know anything about stuff, so either probably study or attune. Because I don't know who to talk to. Well, apart from Oriel.
Sure. I mean, if you're just going and buying stuff, then maybe just consort would be a good roll to make as well.
Yeah, but I feel like consort might get me things that I don't know.
Sure.
I think I'll go with attune.
So you're kind of going with your gut with what you think
whatever
works.
Feels like it might be protecting
like it might
me
work
from bad things.
Yeah, and I think for this as well, you'll be maybe just swinging by a marketplace quickly on your way back to the lighthouse, that kind of thing, and doing that,
passing my hand over things and being like, does this feel better? Or
sure,
does this feel better?
Well, let's before we resolve that, let's hop around to other people and see if they're doing not doing anything is absolutely fine. It's fine if you're not making any preparatory rolls. Chris, what do you think you might be doing other than probably feverishly looking up whisper equipment in their section?
I wrote it down all last time. But I think what I'm going to be doing is heading to the Drowned Grotto in the docks, where I spend a lot of my time amongst the other cultists and spiritualists and the like, and I'm going to be asking around, specifically studying any history of this wreck.
If you've heard of this wreck,
what can be expected?
Absolutely, I think that's a good notion. How about 3 sheets?
I am going to probably my finest possessions, my finest trunk that I keep at the lighthouse and pulling out some dusty boxes of that look to be far higher quality than the vast majority of the things that we own, and then tucking them one long case, perhaps a few shorter, smaller cases, and bundling them all up in my traveling gear.
Well, we won't reveal what those are, but I think it's safe to say those are some listed Hound items, right?
I think they might well be, yes.
They might well be. We'll find out what those are later. It's worth...
Yeah,
Sorry,
of course.
you finish.
Because maybe, eyeing up the ferret, I think we'll decide later on whether or not
if the ferret is coming.
Trip.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll
you don't want a ferret spooked by ghosts. That's
but equally,
no use at all.
Maybe the ferret would be spooky to ghosts.
Maybe,
yeah. Maybe that's up to the ferret to decide as well.
No.
Yeah, it's like in the Mummy, where the mummy is scared by the cat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like Bricks, I force the ferret to do things, and if it doesn't like it, me forcing it, then it bites me. That's how the relationship works.
Ferrets are traditionally guardians of the underworld, which is why ghosts are very good guards of the underworld. Absolutely, yeah. No, that sounds great. And incidentally, just riffing off Justin's point there, I would say that obviously you'll have to pick your load when you go out. You're going out into the Deathlands. Load much less important, because you're not gonna. No one is going to be going, they look like scoundrels. You're out in the Deathlands. There's no one fucking there. So going with a heavy load could be a good idea, so you have all the equipment you want. Bricks, are you doing anything to prepare?
I was thinking about doing something, because obviously we've got a city boat, largely. If there's any kind of preparations I can do on the boat to make it better for longer journeys, wilder journeys.
Yeah. Even if it's just stocking up some extra equipment and supplies on there.
Yeah, maybe getting some kind of light or lantern to attach to the front.
Those all sound like very good ideas. So as the four of you, or the five of you, including Marlene, or even more, including the grinders, as the group of you leave that building and kind of make your way back off on your various tasks down underneath the electro rail and on to grottos and lighthouses and markets. One thing I will say is that as you go and as you proceed past the crier, the doomsayer, three sheets. The others are kind of talking quietly among themselves, but you're kind of pondering what you need to do, pondering that chest with its rather important boxes inside it. And as you're wandering, you're the only one really paying attention. And behind you, as you're walking off, not shouting out to you, just shouting out to the void, as he seems to do, presumably day or night. You hear the doomsayer. You'll all see. It's coming. Walls will fall. Are you reacting to that in any way?
I'm a sailor, so I'm naturally superstitious. And maybe I pull my coat around myself, feeling a chill running through my blood, and grumble something about bad luck. I've got a bad feeling about this, etc., etc. This is dangerous work going out in the Deathlands or out beyond lightning barriers.
I'm sure that that particular little phrase and prophecy following you guys around, I'm sure it's just coincidence. So let's have a roll first, and let's have the roll from Bricks first. What are you rolling to try and get the barge better equipped for a longer journey?
I usually use finesse as my sailory skill. So I was thinking of going for that. Finesse or survey?
Do you want us to come back to you?
I think I'm going to go for survey.
Okay, yeah, go for survey.
So
kind of going over the boat quite carefully and thinking about how to enhance it in various ways.
Yeah,
I think that's a decent effect. Obviously, it's a control roll. Go ahead.
3.
Yeah, that is a no.
That's
You
fine.
you kind of can't think of how you'd make adjustments to it, specifically on such an old boat while keeping it, fairly ship shape. You think if you maybe took some risks with how much weight it can carry, then maybe you could add some additional bits and pieces, some extra kind of like little fuel canisters for the engine, some extra supplies. But you'd really be going beyond what you're kind of completely comfortable with. But hey, it could work. And that's me saying, do you want to now make a risky survey roll to see if you can arm it up, or you can just leave it?
Are we taking all of the grinders with us on our boat, or do they have their own boat?
No, you're taking them all with you.
I'm gonna leave it.
Okay, that's fair enough. Next, we have Echo. So I believe you were going to. In fact, I can't remember what you were going to roll.
I was going to roll a tune.
A tune, you were.
And I'm rolling 2 dice and taking the worst. I'm not going to
Nice. And I'll say this, again, all these will be controlled rolls.
Okay, I rolled a 4. Both of mine were 4. So
Okay.
actually quite good.
Yeah, it's all right.
For
Absolutely. I'm going to say for this, yeah, you find a number of small trinkets, kind of similar in nature to the one that you sort of smeared in your blood and threw back on that rooftop in the Docklands weeks and weeks ago now. And I think it's fair to say that even though you ended up diving off the rooftop to escape, that it seemed to have some kind of effect, and therefore you feel like sort of picking it up again couldn't hurt. It couldn't hurt, and you gather a couple of these, and that's what you find essentially. Should I tell you do you want to know what the complication is? Because it's only going to kick in when you use them.
You can save that one.
I'll save that one.
I think as I'm picking them up, I swear I see like various things on like just on my peripheral vision, and then I turn and look, and no, it's just me being paranoid, and I take these things away.
Absolutely. Well, we'll go with. I don't think Justin needs to roll for getting gear from his chest, so we don't need to roll there. But Oriel, you were, I believe, going to. Is the idea to consort? Or study,
no, the idea
I think
is
you
to
said.
Study, yeah.
To study and see if you can find anything, yeah.
Yeah. I'm also going to... I think I'm going to push the roll.
Go for it.
Seems pretty
so
important.
It gives me 2 dice. A 4 and a 3.
A 4 and a 3, so that's not too bad. So essentially, you do find some information. You find that there are rumors of a ship that foundered and was beached ashore around 25 years ago, a warship called the Interminate. That it was rumored that it was essentially brought ashore due to various stories of crew incompetence or even mutiny or some kind of nefarious doings on board. There have been several trips out from several interested sources, kind of private salvagers, as well as the Akarosi military, to try and reclaim it, and each one of them has faltered in one way or another, including at least one from a private investor that was rumored to have vanished. It seems fairly likely that the Interminate is the ship you are heading for. As you ask around and do a bit of study around this in this kind of close, dark, dripping grotto where a number of your peers socialize and study, you notice that one individual notable by their the sort of oddly cut, like sharp, almost pointed trousers that they're wearing. Like they run, a point runs off their off down and tailored off their knees and off their the bottoms of them. They're wearing a mask, as so many people do down here, so you can't tell who they are. But you notice that they seem to be taking a particular interest in you inquiring about the interminate. But before you can inquire about their identity or inquire of them directly, they vanish among the small crowd of whispers who hang out in a grotto underneath the docks. Because why wouldn't you?
Really good soup every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday.
I bet.
So, yeah. So, let's, unless there's anything else anyone wants to roll for, I think what we'll do is we'll have maybe, let's have a little scene on the barge as everyone has reconvened, and you're kind of probably just about leaving the limits of Doskvol. And it's a very different place outside those lightning barriers. But as you're rounding up the coast, it's up the coast to the northeast. So you're having to go past. Steve, can you bring up the map for us, please? If you would be so kind. Yeah. So basically, you're going through the North Hook Channel, and you're passing between White Crown and Brightstone now, two of the more affluent areas of Doskvol. And you're edging towards the abandoned sections of the city that have been left behind as the lightning barriers were introduced. And ahead of you now on either side of that channel are two of the vastest pillars of the lightning barrier, crackling and discharging in the air of the evening. Below you, as the waters get deeper, you start to see those odd, soft, star-like twinkling lights deep below the surface of the water. What those are, no man knows, and perhaps no man was meant to know. But as you start, the barge starts creeping further up the coastline. The houses and buildings of Doskvol give way to abandoned, creaking edifices of former areas of the city now long lost to civilization. And you can see ahead of you a fog bank rolling in as you start to make your way up the coast of the Deathlands. So, do we want some kind of scene as this is happening? Does anyone want to talk to anyone in particular? Obviously, Marlene is aboard, as well as the grinders with Derrit. Derrit is sat in the back of the barge, softly playing a flute to the night air. And Marlene is just sat around looking a bit baffled as to why she's there.
Maybe I kind of have a strong feeling that like Three Sheets is like playing over the many times that he and Brix have left port from one of the ports of the Isles to the other, and I imagine it's always a bit of a nerve-wracking experience going through the lightning barriers and thinking about the journey ahead. So I imagine Three Sheets is kind of maybe fiddling or fumbling with some piece of equipment or rope or rigging, busying himself with busy hands. To keep those worries away. Maybe whistling along to that flute tune.
And I think it's safe to say that every now and then a lightning pillar misfires and maybe sets a minor fire or cracks open a vessel as it's passing through. And indeed, this time, one of the huge lightning pillars does misfire. Not as you're quite at it, but when you're certainly quite nearby, and a huge bolt just flares out and sparks out into the ocean ahead of you, kind of sending a flare of droplets of water and steam up in the air, a fair way from the barge, but still close enough to cause a moment of genuine panic.
I think when that happens, I was trying my best to remain entirely composed, but when like lightning strikes the water, I am just going to be like suddenly like moving and trying to get like I don't know what to do with myself, and I'm like gripping this something in my hand very, very, very tightly, and I'm just sort of walking up and down the boat trying to not look at the water, and I'm like clearly. This is a mistake. This was a mistake.
As you do this, you're doing this quite near Derek, and he kind of like quite calmly looks up and just watches you softly, and kind of tilts his flute, sucks a wad of spit out of it, and over into the ocean, and then just while still just watching you quite calmly, with no visible like emotion, just starts to softly play a tune on the flute again.
I think at the misfire there will be a sudden stream of swearing in a language that probably no one else is familiar with unless they have Taikarosi.
Echo will. Echo is also Taikarosi.
Oh, cool. So you will hear me scream, infernal devices should have been torn down. Oh, God.
Okay, I think if I hear that, I actually like it like reminds me of home. And I am like, even though it was like the most obscene thing or whatever, like I'm like I like pause for a second and look at you, and I like seem to like relax just a little.
Sure.
I hiss, obviously annoyed at the misfire, but occupational hazard as a sailor. But I mostly hiss in displeasure as the mist of the displaced water gets into the pipe that I lit before I left the dock to help calm my nerves, which I just sort of angrily tap out over the side of the boat, the now sodden ash, stick it back in my jacket, and go back to manning the rudder.
Sure. So if you're manning the rudder, you're quite near Derek and Marlene as well, and you hear Marlene kind of she stood, because obviously it's kind of like a big long canal barge, right? So she stood at the back of where it goes down into Chris, you might know, what would it be called? A deck? Just the kind of area inside the long cabin of a barge? Do you call that a deck? Or
it's just a cabin if you're going
just a cabin,
below,
just a long
below, I suppose.
Big cabin. Yeah, where it goes below, she's just kind of like hunched over and leaning on the top of it and looking a bit confused, and doesn't look happy about with the lightning strike into the water, and just kind of shakes and says, don't know why they want me on this thing. And Derek quite quietly says, because they can't hurt you, can they? And then just goes back to playing his flute, and Marlene kind of whips round and looks at him and looks like a mixture of alarmed and kind of alarm, worry, paranoia, and just shock that he said this. And then kind of blinks and very quickly tries to hide it on her face. But Brix, you can tell immediately what he said has really shook Marlene, and she wheels back round and just kind of hunches over and stares forwards on the boat. And I think we'll make our engagement roll now. So let's do that. And one for luck, as always. And this is the engagement. This isn't so much like how well we're going to be doing the stuff on the warship as our arrival there, and like how well we, arrive and put ourselves in a good position there. So I'm going to take one for luck, and I'll gladly take another one because Oriel has some information about it and has presumably passed this information on to the others. Can anyone think of anything else? I don't think there's much to it because
I can only think of bad things in terms of.
Sure.
I mean, Three Sheets and Bricks are both, sailors. Like they've got a seafaring background. We've got sea legs.
What? I think that's absolutely valid, and I'll take another one for that. Anything from anyone else? I'm tempted to take one away just because everyone is so goddamn spooked.
Cool.
That seems fair.
Do you think that's fair?
I think, because my point is
Except
that
Oriel.
yeah, that's the thing. My point is that once we left the harbor, I'm kind of like they are used to having to traverse these deadlands in their past, and is probably a little bit more at ease, maybe a little bit more at ease than in the city.
Oh, sure. I think that is valid. I think Oriel is, but I think it's just a case of majority here. Of like, I think the keepers that are vanilla keepers, as it were, are spooked. Marlene is Derek, not so much, but the other grinders definitely look quite spooked. And the lightning strike did not help with that. So unless anyone has particular objections, I'm gonna remove a die for that, and then just do a 2-die engagement roll, which seems pretty decent for this. For something you didn't manage to get too much preparation done for.
Yeah.
Okay. So the highest result there was a 3. So here's what's going to happen. After a couple of hours of kind of puttering along the coast, always staying, very close to that shoreline, what you can see of it, the mist and the fog has not receded in the couple of hours since then. Most of the light is coming from either the odd starry depths of the ocean itself, or from the quite powerful like electro lanterns you've got mounted on the sides of the barge, and you've seen like shapes moving past on the shoreline, undoubtedly kind of old buildings and old structures, old villages of various kinds. Occasionally one of the shapes almost seems to move in the shifting fog, but you're sure it's probably just a trick of the light. And then as 2 hours pass and you're starting to think, when will this warship arrive? When will we see it? Because presumably it's going to be quite noticeable on the shoreline. And you know what? When it does emerge, it is noticeable. And what is noticeable about it is that it's about 12 feet in front of you, and you haven't managed to shift the speed of the canal boat down in time. So I'm going to want a roll. Brix said he was on the rudder. So it's either going to be a roll by Brix or a group roll, and Brix is going to be the leader. And I'd like to roll to avoid striking the hull, the rusting, rotting hull of this warship with your barge, which I don't believe has a name. Not yet, anyway.
No, the
No,
name's
it
one.
should.
Do we want to make a group roll, or do we want to leave it to Brix?
Let's do a group
What?
roll.
I'd be fine.
I think a group roll is a good approach.
I can take a group roll.
Okay, I'm not offering a devil's bargain or anything. I think just doing a group roll is enough. Honestly, what do you want the roll to be, Brix?
I always use finesse as my sailing skill, so I'm going to go for finesse.
That seems. I'm happy. That will have great effect. I think if you're doing it, because you're trying to, oh my god, like steer out of the way as quick as you can, right? So if everyone gives a finesse roll, then please.
I rolled a critical 2 6s.
Ooh.
Nice.
6 and 2.
6 and 2. What? And you got a 3? Did you say, Chris?
Yes, I rolled 2 dice and selected the lower, and that gave me a 3.
I rolled a 6.
Okay, so that's just 1 stress for Brix. And we'll interpret it as such, right? So the critical from Echo, you are first alerted to the presence of the warship. Oriel, you're maybe near the prow of the barge, and you just you feel it before you see it, just lurking ahead of you in the fog like a presence all of its own, and you just give a sort of surprised, strangled cry and wheel round, and Brix, that's the first thing you perceive, is Oriel's panic as the shape looms out of the fog, thus how Oriel gave you a stress. But 3 sheets, Echo and yourself managed to leap to I almost said controls, but leap to the various mechanisms of the barge, and the whole ship kind of sweeps round and quite elegantly veers alongside the hull of the warship, half beached it is. Echo in particular kind of like scampering along the webbing on the side of the barge, and sort of very neatly managing to I don't know how you'd help on the barge without using the rudder, but Chris, is there anything one would do on a barge to help move it?
In this situation, you would be fending the heck off of the approaching object if you're going slow
Getting
enough.
A pole and...
or your feet. I've frequently had to kick other boats away.
Yeah.
It's super dangerous. Don't try this at home.
Echo fears not the danger. And Echo is like on the side, kind of resting away from the hull of the warship with her feet. And you see as you go past the hull, as I say, it's rusting and it's rotting, but it looks mostly intact. And as you go along, you can see still etched on the side in some kind of old grey paint the word interminate. As it goes past above you, kind of the clang and sort of moan of the noises that Echo is making, like feverishly thrusting her feet against the hull, sort of reverberating out like a huge bell on the shoreline as you make your way around the hull of the ship.
Okay, hopefully we have not just called them here.
So much for the element of surprise.
Derrit and the grinders are kind of stood up, and they all have weapons out, and they're just kind of looking up at the hull of the ship. Derrit turns around to Brix at the rudder and says, "Do we jump onto the shore, or do you beach this thing?"
I can beach it. Hold still.
The shoreline that you can see is all kind of grey, almost slate-like stone that spreads, I'd say, as far as your eye can see, but your eyes cannot see very far in the cloying fog. And you kind of round the hull of the warship. And I'm not going to make you roll to beach it, partly because you just got a critical. But the barge of the keepers like slightly grinds onto the shore, and there's a kind of moment of worry at some of the more unpleasant scraping sounds, but then it just kind of comes to, like, sort of hot, leaning a little uncomfortably towards the water. But yeah, you think it's fairly secure, and you have some like lines and pinions that you can use to kind of like, hammer into the slate of the shore in order to make sure it doesn't just drift off.
I make a mental note to check or get the underside of the boat checked once we get back to the lighthouse.
Would probably be a good idea.
Yeah.
I will don a ornate and unusual looking mask.
Why don't you describe your Whispers mask to us? Because they're kind of unique, aren't they?
So the mask is actually like a masquerade ball mask almost, but emblazoned with kind of painted on kind of symbolism in Tycherosi, with some evocations to the spirits and the elder gods of that place.
Like a kind of Venetian masquerade ball sort of mask. Yeah.
With as few features as Oriel has. They have very, very plain face, very asexual face, but with the mask it seems to, like, that is even amplified to be similar but different and a little spooky.
Oriel almost looks like something other with the mask on. Absolutely. And it sounds then like Oriel, if you're using that mask, because that mask has sort of effects in the way that anything in this has effects. It allows the trained user to see supernatural energies in great detail and affords a measure of protection against ghostly possession. So that's one load sorted for you, I'm sure.
It's a 0 load item, actually.
Is it? Fine Spirit Mask is listed as one load in the book that I'm looking at.
I'm thinking of another spooky object. Okay,
Demon Bane Charm and Ghost Keys is 0 load. That sounds like you're looking for a roll, and I'd be very surprised if it wasn't a tune.
It would be a tune. I'm also going to take my Ghost Minx bonus when I'm gathering information about a supernatural event. Gives me an extra dice. So unless I'm mistaken, that's 2 extra dice on this.
You don't get an extra die for equipment like Spirit Masks. You don't just get extra die loaded on. What it will do is adjust what I give you and like the effect and the potentially the position of it.
Yeah.
So you'll get an extra die for your Ghost Mind, and then
Ghost
I'm
Mind.
gonna-
Sorry. Yes, you're right. That's my screen is too big. 4K is too many K.
And you know what? I'll give you, because of your Ghost Mask, or Spirit Mask rather, I'll say this is actually a controlled roll, because I'll say you can study the area from the relative safety of the deck of the barge. So we'll say that this is a controlled roll for that. I have a devil's bargain for you, and let's say it all together, shall we? Shall we, folks? What am I offering?
The ticking of
The
a
ticking
clock.
clock.
Yep. Or you can obviously push yourself or various things.
I at this stage, despite my limited number of appearances on this series, I believe it's somewhat mimetic for me to refuse your filthy demon words and throw them back in your face. And I will take my 3 dice at advantage, if you don't mind.
That's fair enough. Go for it.
Okay. 2 4s.
2 4s. Okay. So you as you stand on the deck and kind of the sound of the keepers sort of feverishly working to get beached and get pinned on the shoreline safely sort of almost fades away around you. And as you're gazing up at the huge hull of this warship, and it's very large. It's not quite like a modern battleship, but it's not hugely far off either. And you can see the huge artillery cannons on board the deck are still there, kind of listing slightly in their moorings, and you just have a sense wash over you. There is something in this place that runs rich and runs deep and old, and there is something deeper about this ship than mere wandering spirits, although you certainly get the sense of those as well. You would stake your reputation as a whisper that there are multiple spirits active aboard this ship. You can kind of almost hear them just on the edge of your perception. But what they mean and what they intend at this point, impossible to say. One of the grinders kind of nudges your elbow to kind of like encourage you off the deck as everyone is descending from the barge, and everything just kind of comes back into place, and you blink behind the spirit mask.
Well, with a short curse at the person who nudged me, I will descend onto the shore and hopefully get people's attention to relay some of this information.
Mm-hmm.
Probably something along the lines of, it is the living that desert a ship, not the dead. The ship is still crewed.
How big is this ship? What kind of size remains? How much of it remains out of the water?
The vast majority of it is out of the water. It's only really the very kind of, and forgive me again for my nautical terms, the very base, sort of
Keel would be good.
Keel. The very bottom of the keel is still kind of lapped on by the dark waters of the sea, but most of it is still there, and it's definitely listing very heavily inland. But not to the point where you suspect if you got aboard and got on the deck of the ship, you could still walk around just slightly awkwardly.
Okay.
And as for, I probably should at least try for kind of the size of it. I'm going to try and get some kind of like indicator.
Maybe
I'm looking for kind of old, sort of Victorian battleship style,
okay.
or like, yeah.
Does it also look like it was a fighting ship?
Oh yeah. Well, as I believe I mentioned, the artillery cannons.
Yes,
yeah.
Artillery as opposed to
not cannons. Like it looks like it's comparable to like an early 20th century warship.
Okay.
So not cannons so much as large guns. that are mounted on it. It definitely, you would not want to be on the receiving end of a barrage from this, even now, 25 years later.
Weren't dreadnoughts very late Victorian?
Yeah, maybe. But I'm trying to get a sense of. I'd say, yeah, okay, yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, that's a good description of a dreadnought. And let's try and find dreadnought size. So I can give. No, not a guitar type called a dreadnought.
I
Dreadnought
thought you were going to end up with a
ship
40k dreadnought.
I was about to say,
Yeah,
it's
that as
three
well, right?
options.
Dreadnought descriptions and facts. Here we go. 526 feet long, which is
There you go.
160 meters.
Perfect.
There we go. It's big.
I think as I see sort of Oriel using this mask, I'll ask them about, if you can sense them with this mask, can they sense us? Do they, or do they see like we do?
That is a risk.
That is a risk.
If we stay out of sight, is that
It depends
will
on
that
the
help
spirits,
us?
but
Okay.
also the spirits of the crew are but one of the concerns here. There is another older thing that may indeed be the reason why so many people have been interested in the bones of the ship.
Well, we didn't agree to retrieve any bones. We're just securing the area.
Can I just start like climbing up into this thing?
Sure,
Like, see
yeah.
if I can find a way.
Are we kind of taking a look around first, or are you just going straight up there?
I don't know. I mean, like, I don't want to spend more time here than I need to, and so
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna start climbing in.
That's absolutely fair. So you absolutely can. You can see like rough. You can't see the entire length of it from where you are because it's too long and the fog is too thick. But you can definitely start to try. There's plenty of handholds on the side. You can definitely try and scrabble your way up to the top deck. But we're going to need a roll for that, I think. And it's going to be a risky
Prowl.
roll because it is. Yeah, Prowl will certainly do it, and it's going to be a risky roll because got a way to fall if you screw up. Do you want? I'll offer you a devil's bargain.
Is it a clock?
It is a
I
ticking
do love
clock.
clocks, but I don't think I need it. So
Sure.
I'm going to call it. And I roll a 5 and a 4.
Such self-discipline.
As you go up, so the complication I'm going to throw in here is minor harm. I don't know if you want to resist that.
Yeah, I do. I hate
Yeah.
harms.
Yeah, go for it. So it's going to be that's a prowess resistance you'll need for that, which I think is probably your best anyway.
Yeah, I get 6, 5, and a 5.
Great, resisted it. No stress. So as you're clambering up, you very nearly manage to scrape the remains of that bite wound in your hand open on a sort of rusty bolt on the ship's side. But at the last minute, you kind of notice the sharp edges of it, move beyond it, and make your way up onto the deck. As you do so, as you kind of scrabble aboard, the deck, which is mostly kind of like metal reinforcing the wood, sort of creaks underneath you, even with just your minor steps on it. It doesn't. The warship doesn't shift or anything like that. It's far too large to really feel that weight on board. But you can see partway along the deck just a kind of open emptiness and an odd sense of isolation, even though the rest of your crew are down on the beach. But you can't see them from where you are. All you can see is fog, the deck of the ship, and rolling grey shoreline. Do you want, and just a suggestion, do you want to use a load on a rope?
I'd thought about it, but I intend to be carrying lots of very heavy things, so I Is it would it be possible to try and see if I can find a rope rather than having taken one on my load, or is that
I think
yeah? Let me know.
would a rope not have decayed in 25 years?
No, it'll be in crap condition, but it'll still be usable.
Okay, I will bow to the nautical
Maybe there's a
expert.
chain or something, or
Yeah, a chain certainly could be around. Yeah, or an anchor chain
will be
even.
in worse condition than a rope.
oh, shut up, Rory.
So
You don't know the things they make the chains out of in this universe.
they make the chains out of rope.
Yes.
So yeah. Go ahead then. Give me a roll, and this a controlled roll. Yeah, survey would be an excellent choice.
I've got a single dice in survey. And
I will offer you a devil's bargain for a tick of a clock.
I roll a 1.
He'd already rolled.
Well then, and this was a controlled roll. So you know what? You are searching the deck for some kind of rope or chain to kind of let down, and you can vaguely, distantly, almost too distantly for how far they are actually away, hear the keepers below you talking. And as you don't see anything on the deck, but as you walk around, you pass a sort of raised hatch down below, kind of a little cabin that has a set of stairs, metal stairs leading downwards into the dark interior of the ship. And as you walk like just across that, you glance down and see what appears like it may be on the edge of your vision down there, a curled up pile of rope, but it would entail going down below deck yourself. Translation, you can roll a risky roll for it.
Yes. I will be better at once I found said thing. I'll be so to get down there. Can I use a prowl?
You can use a different action roll. You can use any action roll you want.
Would prowl be the best roll for it, or would
if you want to creep down there as quietly as you can and grab it? Yeah.
Right, I'm going to prowl down there, and I roll a 5 and a 6.
Okay, you do so successfully. As you make your way down, you feel unsettled, but no more unsettled than the environment would normally suggest. And it is indeed a coiled pile of rope. You pick it up, take it back over to where you clambered up, tie it around kind of the, the decking has sort of iron bars on each side, and you manage to secure it around there and drop it down. And now everyone can make their way up to the deck if they so wish.
As like just before the rope comes down, I'd just be like, he's not coming back, is he?
Probably. Oh.
And then the rope. I climb up.
Derek Marlene climbs up with you. Derek climbs up last, and as he gets to the top, he just looks around and says, my men will stay down there, keeping an eye out for anything coming from inland. I will sit here and pass anything that needs to be passed between my men and yourselves. He sits down against the side, kind of the iron bar where the rope is hung, and kind of starts getting his flute out of the pocket, and then seems to think better of it and just taps it back down again, and instead draws a flintlock that he kind of lays across his thigh as he sits and looks out over the landscape. So you're all on board the deck of the Interminate. What are we doing?
Taking out a small device that expands into a very modern-looking lightning hook.
So why don't you describe for us what have you got a description of what a lightning hook is there, Chris? For us?
I do. So it's a two-handed pull with a loop of heavy wire at the end and an electroplasmic capacitor, probably belt-mounted the capacitor. And it's specifically for manipulating spirits in a somewhat unfriendly way. Oriel, they do not look happy handling it, and it does look like it's kind of been purchased new. This does not look like it's Oriel's style for spirits interactions.
I think I get behind Oriel.
Sure. So that's one of Oriel's load con as well, in case we were concerned. Even though it's two-handed, though, it's got a load of 1 because it collapses into a compact form.
Cool.
So, 3 sheets found one way down below. There's almost certainly going to be others. But what are we doing here on the deck? Marlene is looking kind of lost, honestly.
I would just like to make a note that as I came up from the rope, probably huffing and puffing a fair amount, not at all used to climbing, I take a moment to secure something around my neck and tucked very firmly under my shirt.
Okay.
If I see that dark area where 3 sheets was sort of in there, well, found the rope, I'll perhaps don my dark sight mask that allows me to see better and begin exploring in that direction.
Sure. So Echo purchase their dark sight mask on their face. Have we determined what your dark sight mask looks like?
I think it was also quite masqueradey. But let's say it's it's completely black. Because it's supposed to be used for breaking into places.
Imagine, maybe ironically, quite similar to the Wraith's masks.
Quite possibly.
Almost as if they're for a similar purpose.
Possibly.
Yeah. Okay, so you are going below and maybe starting to scout a bit of the way about what's actually down there.
Yeah.
What role are you looking to make for this? And is anyone going to assist you? Seems like the kind of thing where you could have an assistant with you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very reluctant to go alone, but I will have pushed.
Can I if I see you kind of making to go below, I'd say perhaps a moment of calm and discretion first.
Absolutely. Yes. Calm and discretion.
Because the first entrance may not be the best, and a short survey of the deck might be profitable. And I would like to interrupt Pierre's roll and do a prowl roll on the deck to gather and to kind of basically get a mental map of what options we have for going into dangerous, spooky holes.
Absolutely. This can be a controlled roll. Would anyone like to assist?
Oh, yes.
So you're assisting. Do we even want to make it a group action? It's entirely up to you guys. But if it's just Echo and Oriel mainly keen on the idea, then maybe it's an assisted one. In which case, Echo, take a stress. Oriel, take an extra die, and I will also, Oriel, offer you a devil's bargain for
tickling of a clock.
Yep.
The tickling of a clock.
Tickling of a clock.
Way behind me, Satan. I'm rolling 3 dice. I hope I don't need an extra one.
That's the one from me. Or is it 2 dice plus?
It's 2 dice plus 1. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go. 6, 6, 4.
Well then. You carry out, I say quick, but obviously the thing's 160 meters long. There's only a certain amount of quick you can be. But you nevertheless manage to do a circuit of the deck. You don't see anything particularly unusual, but you do find 3 or 4 hatches down below, and one entrance into kind of at the center of the deck. There's a raised number of cabins that are presumably where the officers would or engineers would line up sights and command the ship. And you find an entrance up there, and you also find 3 entrances below. One of which, in particular, as you walk past it, Oriel, you feel a familiar crawling up your spine, and you kind of half sort of softly turn around and gaze down into it's unlike the other, this is more of an actual hatch with a ladder just leading down into the darkness. There is something down there. and this is the quickest route to it.
I think I will. I don't know. Like, are we trying to get to the Gribblies, or are we trying to stay away from?
You're
the
trying to
Gribblies?
make sure that you're trying to clear the warship.
I think I will
dangers of any kind.
Silently but visibly beckon other people over in almost a ritualistic wave of the arm.
Yeah. I will slowly and steadily step forward to you, maybe unslinging a long-barreled rifle from my shoulder and checking its. I mean, checking it's all good.
I will also step forward, lightly patting the slight lump under my shirt.
Okay, and what are we doing?
I think I will kind of look to Pierre and
Okay.
gesture. Now's your opportunity, I suppose.
If it's dark, I'll like hesitate very much at the entrance and then go into the depths.
Okay, and I believe we were talking of a prowl roll.
Yeah.
To try and get down there as quietly and easily as possible. At this point, are we all going down then, as opposed to the one below? Is this a group action, or is it just something that a couple of people are doing?
I think if it's stealthy, it makes more sense for just me to go
Echo
in,
to kind of go in first,
and then
Sure.
like, yeah.
Sure,
I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, Three Sheets is getting reasonably stealthy.
Okay, yeah, us too, maybe.
Okay, so kind of you two making your way down below then. Do you want to do it as a group action or one assisting the other?
I think this is probably more group actiony.
Okay.
I'll throw
Just me and-
my stealthy dice into the pool then.
Sure.
If we're doing a big group.
So maybe Brix is bringing up the rear and the three of you are going down. It sounds like it's being led by Echo.
Yeah.
So why doesn't everyone... I will offer Echo tick for clock as a devil's bargain if you want an extra die.
I will accept.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, you know me too well.
I imagine we're doing a prowl roll, yeah?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's a prowl roll.
And it's a good thing I did. I did get a 6.
Okay.
3 and a 2.
I also got a 6.
Ooh. So that's one stress for Echo from 3 sheets. 3 sheets, you kind of like half stumble on your way down the ladder, and only Echo just below you, kind of reaching up and desperately kind of like planting a hand on your ass to pin you to the ladder, stops you from like skittering down a couple of rungs. But generally, the three of you make your way down quietly and calmly, and you reach the bottom. And you seem to have made your way quite deep into the heart of the ship. Tell me what you're doing for light.
So I'm just sticking with my dark sight mask. So I'm actually prowling completely in the darkness, but I imagine that the others...
Sure. What are others doing for light? Does one of you have a lantern or something like that?
I'm not creating any light because I think I know a little about prowling and items that help prowling, and I think giving Echo some time to be sneaky. Also, I'd like to spend a moment to maybe, if it's appropriate, attune to this space.
Sure. I would say it is literally pitch black down here. You're in an interior in night with no external lighting. So you would need, if you want to navigate at all, you don't have a night mask like Echo does, so you would need some form of lightning. Although, you know what? We could say that your lightning hook gives out light at all times, right? Like a soft,
maybe kind of a soft
white
sort
glow off like the, there's tubing down the side of it that gives that off. 3 sheets, are you doing anything for personal light for yourself?
Not really. I kind of want to have both hands free for this rifle.
Okay, so we're just relying on the kind of soft light that the lightning hook is giving off. That's pretty cool. So, Oriel, I think you mentioned once you've got to the bottom and are looking around, you find yourself in what appears to be like a long corridor down the spine of the ship that has a lot of hatches on either side of it. and kind of a number of bits of obscure equipment kind of hung from the walls and the ceilings, and even kind of stowed away. Looks to be stowed away under the kind of metal grill that you're walking on as well. Oriel, I think you wanted to do another attune roll.
Yes, please.
Go for it. I will offer you. I mean, I'll offer you a devil's bargain, but you'll turn me down. So
I am stronger than Pierre, but I will go ahead on 2 dice. A 4 and a 1.
4 and a 1. So the consequence I'm going to give you for that, because we're now risky, and the consequence I'm going to give you, if you want to resist it, is a tick on the clock. So
What's
it's up
resist?
to you.
It's a stress to resist, isn't it?
It can be stress. What it is this would be a tune. This would come under a tune. So what you'd be rolling is your resolve. So whatever your resolve is, you're rolling that, and the higher result you get, the less stress you take. But either way, you will resist the tick of the clock. But you could end up with a lot of stress from it. So.
Do you know what? I'm going to save my stress, and I will give you your much vaunted tick master.
You could have got an extra dice for that tick.
Tickmaster General. Okay. So, yeah, you can feel energies moving through the structure of the ship now that you're in it. You can feel presences on board, and you can feel something kind of slightly further towards the back of the ship from where you are, and maybe a little deeper. And it doesn't feel like a presence so much as a state of being. And it is lurking down there. You don't think consciously or in a sentient manner, but there is an area or a place or a state of being here that maybe is tethering the spirits in some way, maybe not.
Okay.
It's connected to them, though.
I think I will once again wordlessly gather people's attention and point towards the stern of the vessel.
I will raise my rifle in said direction.
I emerge from the darkness and sort of look in that direction. Can I see a good way to get there?
I mean, you can walk back towards the stern of the ship along this corridor for a long way, it looks like, from what you can see. Obviously, you can see in the dark here, but still the distance is... I'm
like, the way I'm imagining this is I'm, like, going off into the darkness and then returning and then, like, not going too far from the people, but, like, a little ways.
You certainly think that this corridor you're on will take you a long way towards the stern of the ship.
Okay.
Let's hop up to the deck. So, Brix, what are you doing?
I'm crouching over the hatch that they've gone down, trying in vain to watch the glow of the lightning rod disappear into the darkness.
Yeah, there's like a kind of very soft, gentle white glow at the base of this ladder that you can see that leads quite a long way down, and it is now vanishing up as they proceed along away from wherever the ladder is. Are you following down behind them?
Come on, John, it's spooky time. Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be slightly tempted to go, well, they're gone. That's my part done. But
sure.
No, I should probably.
So they rolled prowl on the way down. Is that what you're wanting to do as well?
I've got no prowl, so could I... See, I think I thought ahead, and I brought a lantern.
Okay, yeah. You can bring a lantern for a load, yep.
I didn't bring a lantern. I just haven't announced having a lantern yet.
Do you think I could make it down with a survey?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing then.
You're kind of just taking more care in doing it and kind of proceeding slower. Go ahead and make a survey roll. Would you like an extra die?
No.
Chris, you're on mute. But we can see you going.
I think Chris was trying to say, "Come on, Bricks, use that devil's bargain."
Don't refuse it. No. No,
You're
I
good.
think you can keep it to yourself.
Sure.
That's a 3.
Oh, Chris is disappointed in you.
So, all right then. Bricks, you're kind of making your way down, and it comes to your attention that because you're taking time to do so, the white glow at the bottom of the ladder is kind of dissipating further and further from your sight, and you're only about halfway down now, and it's just gone. You still have the lantern, maybe clutching the handle of it kind of between your teeth as you're carefully making your way down. Now, I would like you to tell me how much stuff you think you're wearing or carrying that's made of metal. Obviously, the lantern will be.
Yeah, I think the lantern is. I was also. I think even though it won't be much good against ghosts, Bricks probably brought his trusty sledgehammer with him.
Sure, yeah.
Great. What could go wrong?
Yeah, yeah.
So this hatch you're climbing down now, at the top of it, it's quite narrow, and then it widens out a bit and comes down. But it's only at the very bottom when it goes into the corridor that it fully expands, out into. So you've still got, you're still surrounded by metal most of the way. And as you're about halfway down and clambering down, and after the glow from the lightning rod disappears, you find yourself feeling an odd sensation of being like pulled to the side. As if, but it feels like a force, not like something is grasping you. And then all of a sudden, the lantern between your teeth kind of just tilts up on the handle and slams against the side of the ladder, just yanking your head forward. Your sledgehammer yanks you the back of you backwards, and you have to kind of like scrabble desperately to stay on the ladder as an intense magnetism takes hold, pulling you in kind of different directions. You're going to have to let go of one of these things in order to not be just yanked off this ladder way.
Roll to resist.
I'm going to
Good
let
roll
go
to
of the
resist.
sledgehammer.
Okay. You said it was strapped to your back, so you kind of like unclip it desperately, and it with a clang it draws back and just sort of pins itself against the metal wall behind you. And as it does so, you kind of wheel round to look at it, and as you do so, the lantern takes weight again and like dangles from your head, kind of and the sledgehammer just. Obviously, the other three of you hear that and probably like.
Cut to Echo jumping out of her skin.
Behind you at some distance, probably about maybe 40 feet or so, you can see Bricks just like clambering down the last few steps, and you can see the light from his electro lantern, much brighter than any of the light you have down here, sort of illuminating the area around him. And on the kind of floor, on that grating on the floor, is a sledgehammer.
Great work, Bricks.
I'm fine. Not that anyone cares. 'Cause you wandered off without me.
Once again, trying to return some professionalism to the group, I'll kind of once again point towards the back, wordlessly. The stern, the gosh darn stern.
All right. I finish climbing down and tentatively retrieve my sledgehammer.
Fair.
You're muted.
Yeah, your sledgehammer's fine. Pick it up just fine.
Good.
Spooky.
So, as a group, you start making your way along this sort of spinal corridor of the ship. Is there any particular role we want to be making or anything we want to be doing, or are we just making our way forwards and kind of hoping for the best?
Can I roll a hunt roll for that kind of thing of not wanting to be taken by surprise, kind of just being on my guard and ready for something sudden to happen? So they're kind of like a kind of a hunter's sense for
Yeah, sure. Why not?
keen awareness.
Why not? Go for it.
I rolled a 6 and a 2.
Okay. You have. It's ironic that you rolled hunt because you very much have the sense that you're being hunted.
Cool.
You don't know particularly where from, but your hackles are up, the hairs on your arm are rising, and you just feel like you and potentially your companions are in direct danger, quite imminently.
Then I will tell my companions quietly, in a steady voice, that something is coming for us. And I will grip the handle of my rifle firmly.
I am, especially after the sledgehammer incident, not even trying to hide the spirit bane charm I have round my neck, which I think is a fragment of Leviathan tooth or something. It's carved into like a little totem handed down my family. Can I do... I'm thinking like a survey roll. Assuming all big ships have the same basic layout of living quarters will be further down and the engines will be back at the ship, to like sort of navigate through where we are in the ship.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. I think a survey roll is very appropriate for that.
4.
Okay. I think that is just fine. Yeah. As you kind of look around and try and get to grips with where you are, like you say, you think it's a fairly standard ship layout. You would expect this corridor to go much of the way back towards the ship, and you think indeed the engines would be near the stern. You think that most of the hatches off on either side are probably barracks and dormitories for the sailors and soldiers who are aboard this to sleep and kind of living quarters in general. So yeah, you definitely have a kind of good sense of where you are on the ship and where you would go for particular things. However, as you're kind of just looking around, the words of Three Sheets sort of like jangling your nerves slightly, you notice something. As you're kind of looking around with your lantern, and you kind of swing your head around, and your lantern is kind of held up behind you and illuminating most of the others. And across one of the blank areas of metal wall, you see the shadows of the group kind of cast quite harshly up against there. You see Three Sheets kind of like panning around with his long rifle, Echo kind of crouched over, Oriel with the lightning hook kind of swinging around in yourself. But there's a fifth shadow there, just standing between the four of you, still and quiet. Would you like to resist the complication I'm basically going to apply to you, which is going to be essentially a reaction to the presence of a ghost? So in other words, you're either going to be frozen still or you're going to run. Your choice. Would you like to resist that?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, could you give me a roll of resolve, please?
Okay. I'm rolling 2. I'm also just going to double check your maths, because did Marlene come down with me?
Oh, I've done an
So
Earth-ons, haven't I?
There's a sixth figure.
There's a sixth shadow. Marlene did indeed come behind you and hasn't had anything particular to do or say.
My highest roll is a 5. So is that 1 stress?
That's 1 stress. Yeah, but you don't actually see a spirit, but its shadow is there and it's standing between all of you. And as between the 5 of you, as Marlene is there, having followed down behind you and kind of not really interacted with the sledgehammer, just like looked at you quizzically as she came down, like, why did you drop your sledgehammer? And then is just walking along silently behind, kind of looking around, not looking particularly spooked, it has to be said.
At the sight of the shadow on the wall, I do stop and I say, whisper.
Anyone who looks can see the other shadow on the wall.
Oh, goddamn.
So I think I'm going to probably have to use the lightning hook.
Mm-hmm. And try and kind of figure out where it may be lurking from said shadow, because unlike most people, you apparently cannot see this one. Normally, spirits announce their presence very visibly, but in this case, not so much.
So in which case, I think so. Oriel is in the awkward condition of both being comfortable with matters of spirit and uncomfortable with the fact that I'm going to basically be cattle prodding them.
Mm-hmm.
So some kind of intermediary state of comfort I would like to attune and try and figure out a way to sort this friend into a ball.
You can make that an attune roll. That's absolutely fine. I have no devil's bargain for you. Do you want to push yourself or take assistance of any kind? Don't think
unless anyone can offer assistance. I think whoever saw it.
I think it'd be kind of odd in the circumstance if they could in a way help you with your lightning hook. I don't know how that would happen, but
Locating the spirit,
just point towards the target, I suppose. But yeah, that's fair enough.
As the one who noticed the shadow on the wall.
Yeah, you know what? I think Bricks could kind of go there between you and Marlene or something like that. If you wanted, you could take the stress to do that for sure.
That's your call, Bricks. I'd love the extra dice, but I'm already rolling 2.
This is risky in case we were wondering.
Okay, here we go. On 3 dice. A 1, a 2, and a 4.
Well, the 4 does it. You quite as Bricks sort of. How did you express this, Bricks? Did you cry out? Did you kind of like try to calmly say there's something in between us?
There's something between us. We have to talk it through.
I think not shout, but a very low, forced, fake, calm whisper. Look at the wall. And the shadows.
So, Oriel, I think you've said you kind of turn round. Do you kind of whip round or in more of a careful way?
I think in a careful way and kind of almost ritually. This is my job. This is their job, and it's going to be a matter of trying to attune to the area and understand what's going on metaphysically and not just physically.
You carefully turn around. The others can have whatever reaction they want to seeing the extra shadow on the wall, and you reach out with your lightning hook. You feel the presence there, even if you cannot see it, and you latch the hooks of the lightning rod around it as best you can. And as soon as you do and trigger the capacitor on your belt, the being appears, lightning coruscating down its sides as a human-like figure thrashes and wails right in the middle of the corridor between you, sort of sparks arcing out and exploding against the walls as it thrashes around with an unearthly wail that echoes all the way down the corridor. And Oriel, would it be safe to say you are reaching for a spirit bottle at this point?
Yes, please.
So spirit bottles, and if you're thinking this is basically Doskvol ghost busting, you're not far wrong.
Cool.
spirit bottles are vessels to contain spirits once they're held by lightning hooks. And what I haven't even thought about it, Chris. What do spirit bottles look like in our campaign? Go ahead and tell me what they look like.
So spirit bottles have a variety of different shapes, but these ones are very modern looking, much like the lightning hook. Do not seem to be something that Oriel has brought with them from their homeland. These are kind of like canisters more than anything. They're quite small. They're easily carryable, easily beltable, but they're just they're also not bottles. They're not transparent. They are
like a tube, like a metallic tube. Yeah. You kind of fumble one out for your belt and reach forward, and you kind of reach into that coruscating lightning field and the kind of edge of the spirit as you do so, and mutter to yourself as the sparks run across your hand. Do you want to resist that? That's going to be some harm, which is the complication for your 4.
I think I will. So this goes into my second slot for harm, doesn't it?
Why is your first one full up?
Yes, my first one is a wrenched back from last time I was here.
But there's 2 of them. There's 2 level 1s.
Yeah,
so there should be space for 2.
Yeah,
the second, it is a level 1 harm, and it'll just occupy your second slot. Yeah,
I will take the myth on having a badly burnt hand, I imagine.
Sure. Yeah, it is a singed hand, so yeah, you can take that. And as you kind of click the side of the spirit bottle, and the top of it kind of like opens up, the spirit that you can only kind of see the form of through this coruscating lightning down its flanks writhes under the hooks, and all of you hear its voice echoing through the bowels of the ship, leaving you chilled to the core as it writhes and cries over and over again, "The Father! The Father!" And then it's gone. It's not, it's not like a ghost busting, like it's gone, like it was never there. And the spirit bottle kind of closes shut and gives off a faint scent of ozone.
Is that it? Did you get it? Are we done?
Is got, and no, we are not done. Let us proceed. That is the least of our concerns, and is, if I may say so, a bit of a waste.
I take my hands off my ears and stop crouching and slowly get up. Okay. Let's go.
All of you hear a little voice coming from Echo's direction saying, "There are more. We should leave."
Not going to happen.
Not if you want to get paid.
We must get to this father. I believe they are an anchor to a ship that needs no anchor. And if we can disrupt them, I believe the other spirits will find rest.
Do you all talk in metaphors, or is that just a you thing?
Do you want to spend 3 to 6 months learning the proper terms for these things, or do you want me to try and translate? And can we save this for the pub and not the haunted battleship?
After you.
You start making your way further down this spinal corridor of the warship, every so often passing an open hatch where you can see inside to see kind of old bunks, empty storage areas and the like. Ahead of you, you see what looks like a sort of metal, an odd kind of like almost framed spiral staircase leading a bit further down and indeed further up into the ship. You are getting close, Oriel.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Have I got a bead on what and where this presence? Because I'm using that as my compass.
You absolutely are. You need to go further down, further to the rear.
So I will kind of stop at the spiral staircase. Does it go down?
Mm-hmm.
I'll kind of hold everyone up and once again wordlessly kind of signal down.
Sure. So as we're progressing down, I feel we should take maybe another. Do you think we should take maybe a group role for trying to proceed forward in a safe fashion on this rickety spiral staircase, and maybe in a quiet one? How would we feel about that? It feels like Oriel is leading the group at this point, so maybe Oriel should be the group leader. What we prowl again, or
I think I'm definitely prowling.
okay. I have. Do I have a devil's bargain to offer? Do I? I do not.
Okay. Save your baubles, Satan man.
So that's
Okay.
a roll of prowl from everyone. What did everyone get as their top result?
3.
Ooh.
4.
I think I was like shaking as I
Oh, for fudge's sake.
How did you do, Chris?
I got a 4, but
Okay.
everyone else betrayed
Not everyone.
me. So
Not
now I'm
everyone.
going to get stressed.
As you're making your way down this rickety spiral stair, you find yourself kind of like halting and prodding Brix and Echo to one side as they both attempt to simultaneously put their weight on like a really wonky plated stair below that just kind of creaks and nearly gives way and sends them tumbling forwards. So take 2 stress for that, Chris. But as you make your way down, that was obviously a 4 you got, so there needs to be some form of complication to that. And I'm going to say, yeah, okay, let's do that. As you reach the bottom of the staircase, Chris, you step forward from it, and you are down in what appears to be a large open space near the bottom and the rear of the warship. Ahead of you, you can see some kind of large structure just on the edge of the light, maybe an engine. It's some form of mechanical structure. And as you step down, you almost feel like you step on the metal surface below you, and then it slightly gives, and your foot sinks down into something very, very cold and soft and yielding underneath. Would you like to roll to resist the consequences, which is that I'm about to put you in a desperate situation?
Yeah, I think I'll take that this time.
Sure. So that will be, you know what? That can be your choice of either prowess or, actually, I think any of the 3 resistances, I think could apply to this. So you can pick one.
I think I'll take the prowess, or the prowless, as I like to call it.
The prowless, yeah. Let's do that.
I think it's my good stat. So here we go. I got a 6, a 3, and a 1.
Well, there you go. That's absolutely fine. You whip your foot out of that as soon as you place it in there, because there's something very wrong with this substance mulched up and coating the bottom of this room. Yeah, you like your spirit mask almost like flares as you look down at it briefly, and then you can see this sort of mass along the bottom of this room. It looks darker than the darkness of the shadows on either side, like you're looking into a bottomless pit. But there is metal underneath. You hit it. It's the substance, but the substance itself seems to be drawing the shadows to it.
Would this correlate with with the spirit anchor, this father?
Maybe.
No tell, as opposed to looking ahead into the grim darkness. Is there any way to see? Is there like a different staircase ahead that we could kind of backtrack?
No, you can't see anything but the spiral staircase coming down here. It feels like some of the light from Brick's lantern is almost being absorbed by this material on the floor, and it's not getting worse, but it's definitely, you feel darker down here, much darker than you did up in the corridor. Like you're in a little island of light as the room spreads out around you.
How bad an idea would it be to start some fires?
I was also thinking about starting some fires.
The young lady who's with us. What's the name of the NPC again?
Marlene.
And did I overheard that they were saying that she can't be harmed?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
I will turn to her and kind of, Marlene, would you mind taking a lantern up ahead?
I think that requires a bit of an action roll.
Sure.
I feel like sway is the or command is the obvious one, but it's entirely up to you which one you pick. I also think an assistance from Bricks in this would be appropriate, maybe.
If Bricks has any stress left.
Yeah.
Well, I've got 1 point in sway, so this is not a totally lost cause.
Or maybe Bricks could make the roll if Bricks feels more like commanding Marlene. I don't know. It's up to you guys.
I can't afford to assist a roll at this stage. My stress is redlined. But my sway is 1.
Well, my command is 2. So.
Well, you can just kind of cut over me and go, get to work, love. Or something else.
It's thematic.
I'm trying to think how I would talk to Marlene in this situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's time for you to earn your money.
I think I hand her the lantern. I don't even offer. I hand her the lantern and say, "Go on, your turn."
Okay. So are you rolling command for that?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a 6.
Okay. Marlene kind of looks at you and fine.
Just think of the pay.
Kind of takes the lantern and steps down near Oriel and kind of looks at this mass below, and she can clearly see it as well as you can, Oriel, even without a spirit mask. The others of you can see kind of some nebulous, almost like a rolling, maybe black, like a slight more blackness to the darkness underneath, but not really clearly. But Marlene looks down and clearly can see it just as well as you can, Oriel, and just looks at you almost with a look that feels like slightly like a warning, but impossible to interpret because you don't know her very well, and just steps straight down into the material below and just starts walking forward with no hesitancy or seeming effect whatsoever. Echo and 3 sheets. I feel like the others have been taking the lead in this, and I feel like it's time to sort of affect you guys a little bit. So
Please.
I would like you to make a roll, and it's up to you how you'd make it. I would like you to make a roll, one or both of you, for a reactive roll to react to something that's about to happen. But it's entirely up to you what you think your gut reaction to anything sudden happening at this point would be.
Skirmish.
Sure, that's absolutely fine.
I'm just like looking at my traumas being both haunted and reckless. Might actually be skirmish also. I'm either running or I'm fighting. I guess I would. I think I would freeze.
Yeah.
I think it is at this point. I have not. I'm not in a good way. I'm not very useful to anyone. I shouldn't have come down here. We're all going to die. Oh God. Oh God.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, in that case, 3 sheets.
Mm-hmm.
You're the one who notices that you're maybe leaning against the rail and kind of like trying to sweep the area with that long rifle. And as you do so, you feel like almost a stinging, crackling sensation against your hip where it rests on the rail. And you glance down and just see just little charges of sparking, arcing electroplasmic energy just ticking and crackling their way up the spiral staircase around you. You are a person of Doskvol enough to know what that might mean.
What does Justin think? Can you explain what it might mean to Justin? What would Three Sheets say to Justin?
What Justin would think is that a spirit is somehow evoking itself or making itself known nearby, about to.
Well, then, when it makes itself known, Three Sheets will unload his rifle into the shape as it forms.
Absolutely.
I have got a fine long rifle, and I was like, what I can determine from that is that it adds 1 to the quality of the tool. And so is that to say that the tool gives 1 bonus dice for its use and the quality then adds 1 to it? Or that it gets an extra bonus dice to the quality?
I don't think any equipment ever adds dice. I think they increase effect and position.
Well, for quality, it says +1 to your weapon's quality. I don't know. I'm not sure whether that means. I've been trying to look. It's one of the things that in the book I've been trying to work out what exactly quality does. But I think it might be more dice because I think it's like the same as when you have when we go to heal and we use the quality of the person. It's very weird to understand it in the book.
Yeah, it doesn't really say.
It doesn't really say, unfortunately. But so quality. Each upgrade improves the quality rating of PC's items. Blah blah blah. Beyond the quality established by the crew's tier, and then later when talking about that, it says
quality is something that affects effect here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
It'll just be more effective.
Yeah, it just increases your effect. That's all.
Okay. Cool. So I use the same number of dice. That's fine. So then I have 1 more. I can upgrade the quality of the effect of this rifle, but I might take stress to take a second dice, and
sure.
I would also be willing. Also, I'm going to be firing
an electroplasmic round.
Yeah, which also starts a clock, which has 4 sections.
No, it starts. It can do. You're not in the city.
Okie dokie. Well, in that case,
so it will not start that clock.
Okie dokie. Well, in that case, unless you have a devil's bargain for me, which I would take, then.
Do I have a devil's bargain for you? Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I've got a devil's bargain for you, and that devil's bargain, it will offer you a level 1 harm.
Yeah, 100%.
Did you notice that you were pushing yourself?
I am. I can't take both, can I? Yeah. In that case, I'll just push.
Oh yeah, is it just like you can always take an assist, but then you can only take a devil's bargain or a push? Yeah.
Well, can I? Yeah, I think I will. Yeah, I will take the. Yes. 2 dice. I rolled a 4 and a 1.
Okay. So you didn't end up taking the devil's bargain, right?
Didn't take devil's bargain.
You know what? As your complication, I'll give you what I would give you for the devil's bargain anyway. That works out. So, you kind of note the crackling moving down the spiral staircase, and you all kind of follow it up with your eyes. And behind you, just a few turns above, you see a shape begin to form, and the electrical crackling start to resolve, and again, like running up the flanks of a form that's sort of slowly gliding its way round and down to where you are. None of the others seem to have noticed it yet. You bring your rifle up to your shoulder and you fire the electroplasmic round, which it does fire, but it's basically partially a misfire where your rifle, it does a little bit of damage to the rifle's mechanisms to fire these electroplasmic rounds, and there's like a flare from the loading, from like the breach in the side of the rifle, which leaves you kind of blinking furiously and desperately trying to get the glare out of your eyes. But when you manage to open them again, and obviously everyone around you is probably holy crap, at this massive echoing fire in there, you blink and there is no spirits to be seen, no electrical manifestations. You think you got it, but you're kind of sort of blinking furiously. I don't know how you want to represent that, whether you want to put it as like, a little bit of eyesight damage or like blurry vision, something like that.
Well, could I roll to resist it?
Yeah, you absolutely can. Yeah,
resolve roll or prowess roll?
Prowess, I think. Prowess.
Then I will roll that, and I roll 6, 1, and a 3.
There we go. Yeah, you blink the flare away, and it resolves itself, and your night vision comes back quite quickly. Yeah, Marlene is kind of frozen about 10 feet ahead, kind of looking back, holding the lantern, like, what the hell?
Did you see something?
Justin, I think you're being talked to.
Yeah, I like, Three Sheets probably would just be like, ghosts, like, something.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure. Okay. Thanks.
This is sloppy work.
We need to get out of here.
We need to get rid of the anchor. I'll call ahead to Marlene and go, what do you see up there? Describe it.
I don't know, Whisper. There's an engine, and there's this stuff on the ground, and there's chains in the walls, and bones. A lot of bones. People were shackled here, and they died here. In an engine room?
This is probably no normal engine room. Has Marlene left a wake behind her in the that someone else can get into the zone?
Yeah.
Or is it...
You know what? The blackened mass on the floor has kind of rolled slightly aside, and it seems to be kind of slowly drifting back in. But for the moment, you think you could take a few steps forward without being caught in it.
I would like to get into the space a bit more, and I would like to really appraise it, really attune to the zone, and try and unstick this mystery.
Sure. Yeah.
I would like to go back to Bricks and whisper, do you know anything about Marlene's father?
Why would I know anything about her father?
I don't know, it might have come up.
Could have done.
You definitely don't know anything about Marlene's father.
I think
Marlene does not talk about her past very much. Chris, you were going to make an attune roll. Are you going to push yourself?
No.
Okay. I will offer you a devil's bargain, which you probably won't take, but that devil's bargain will... It's going to give you... It will give you harm.
So the harm will resolve after the roll, because that'll be my first dice subtract.
Yeah. It will resolve after the roll. But what less effects might we have from the first level harm? What have you got? You've got a burned hand.
I've still got the bad back.
Yeah, that will not affect this roll, so
okay.
Don't worry about that. But the die reduction will kick in after you take the harm. Yeah, and you can always roll to resist if you want.
I am going to take your bargain.
Okay, take that extra die.
And I will be rolling 3 dice on this attune.
Is the die reduction for all rolls, or just rolls that are then affected by the injury?
It's for die rolls that may be affected by that injury.
I rolled 3 5s.
Okay.
The fates want a certain result for you.
Subcritical.
Yes.
Something.
Critical. Lesser critical. You take a few paces forwards and you try and extend your senses out into this black mass roiling around you on the ground and ahead towards Marlene. And 2 things strike you. First off, this is a place of great suffering, intentional suffering. In the past, things awful happened here in the for some horrible purpose. You you don't know precisely why. You don't know precisely when. You're fairly sure it was when people were here. You know, it's not something that's happened in the intervening 25 years. The second thing you realize is that as your senses roll out, as you try and touch the ghost field around you in the ship, Marlene is like a hole into nothingness. You have heard the word hollow before, and it typically means someone who has effectively been spiritually scooped out by a spirit or a demon of some kind, and then it occupies their body. Every now and then, those people regain control. Now and then, I mean, you know, you've heard of it maybe happening to someone might have known once. If you had to guess, that's what's happened to Marlene, and whatever it is has hardened her spiritually to the point where you suspect anything within the ghost field would have a very difficult time affecting her indeed.
Oof.
The touching Marlene through the ghost field like this has left a temporary impact that has deadened you to the ghost field. Can you put deaden to the ghost field as a level 2 harm, please? And this will you'll definitely take that extra die reduction on things like attuning for the moment. There is also
resist harm as well, Chris.
Oh yeah, you can roll to resist that harm though if you want. Yeah, it might give you and that roll would be a resolve.
Have to be a resolve, wouldn't it? I think I'll have to take that because it's 3 dice.
Mm-hmm.
It will cause stress. I thought you were maxed out on stress.
I'm not maxed out, but I am in the zone where let me tell
3
you
dice
exactly
is a decent
what my
bet.
Stress.
Yeah,
3
3
dice is a decent bet, and my stress is 7 out of 9.
Oh yeah, you got plenty of space with 3 dice.
That's not plenty of space. Let's do it. A 6, a 2, and a 4.
Yeah, fine.
6 means no stress. No stress. So you briefly feel the kind of almost like an energy is being drained out of you and into Marlene, on not through any intention of hers. But you shut your walls down quickly as soon as you make this realization, and you have successfully stopped yourself from being temporarily deadened to the ghost field. Yeah, well done. And well done to Justin for suggesting you rolled resistance to it. However, you rolled a 5, so there's still a complication to be had. And that complication erupts above you, about 10 feet above you, hovering in the air overhead. Another figure kind of shimmering and sparking. They're more visible than the others, a kind of bluish, grayish translucency to them, recognizable as or something that was a human being. Long pinned back hair, sort of hovering and floating slightly as if an invisible wind circles and coils around them. And as they do so, they open what passes for a mouth, and resounding in the chamber around you as the sparks crackle and the air seethes with the spiritual energy. The Father of the Abyss, an orgy of pain. Anyone who is holding metal objects, they are being dragged away from you towards this being.
Is there a wreck is like the brute force roll, isn't it?
It's for destroying things.
That's true, but I was wondering what kind of strength, what would be a strength roll?
What would be kind of trying to get it back? I mean, the things that leap out to me as would be finesse, skirmish.
I think skirmish is a good bet. I think that's that makes most sense to me, even though it's less than finesse.
You're trying to wrestle your long rifle back from this pull. Yeah,
100%.
I'm gonna do the same with my sledgehammer.
Sure. Anyone who wants your lightning hook will be doing the same thing, Chris. So I don't know if you want to roll something to train that as well. Echo, do you have anything in particular that you want to use that's going to be kind of flying through the air?
I will guess that I would have had some throwing knives on me.
Sure. They're small enough though that like you can feel them pulling, but these are like bigger things that are like being dragged, I guess.
If at all possible, I would prefer to save Oriel's lightning stick than my own knives.
So that sounds like an assistance. That sounds like a stress for Echo for an assistance on that roll for Chris.
I was going to say, if the lightning stick is being drawn towards this, can I maybe take the initiative and skirmish to skewer this being with the lightning stick?
Not right now, but if you secure it, yeah, everything's being yanked away suddenly from you. So I want to get the reaction to that before we move on to anything you can do.
Yeah.
So, how did those rolls go? That was a
Critical.
5 from Justin. A critical. Do you say for Bricks?
Yep.
How did you do, Oriel? Don't forget your extra die from Echo.
A
Echo,
1 and a 2.
I don't think you needed to roll Echo, by the way.
Okay.
So if they're just like little things, it's like big things that you might want to use in the moment, sort of thing.
Okay.
Sorry, what did you get, Oriel? Did you say?
I got a 1 and a 2.
A 1 and a 2. Okay. So here is what happens. The lightning hooks go flying through the air towards the being sort of like crackling and hovering up there. Bricks, you said you rolled a critical?
Correct.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out what might... you know what? With your critical, I would say that if you want, you can... I can't think of a thing. All right, I'm not going to ever ask for that again in this story. For like the magnetism, what you know to expect it, and you're gripping it, and it's not going to affect you again. How about that? 3 sheets. You rolled a 5. Did you say something like that? Okay. The complication I'm going to give you.
Can I suggest one?
Go for it.
3 sheets was probably trying to reload, so we could like maybe there's a chance that like I just haven't been able to reload, or maybe I lose my spirit bane ammunition or something like that.
I won't say you've lost it, but let's say you've dropped it.
Yeah.
Right. You were fumbling to get it in, and now it's scattering down the kind of crashing down the stairs below you, like from your bandolier or whatever you're storing it on. Yeah, that's a great suggestion.
Thanks.
So, yes. John points out a thing in private chat. You think resisting a harm only downgrades it, not negates it. It's either, according to what I feel like. I've been feeling generous. Bricks, you have your sledgehammer. 3 sheets, you have your rifle, but not your electroplasmic ammo. And Oriel, you have lost your lightning hooks. What are we now doing to deal with this situation?
I'm trying to get Oriel's lightning hooks back.
I was going to say, where is it?
The lightning hooks are kind of like have drawn towards the being not revolving, kind of hanging in the air above there. You probably can't even see them at this point because like of the crackling, violent display of light above you. And I should probably also say, actually, as well, by the way, that you all need to either freeze or flee or resist.
I guess resisting is...
If you want to end up doing anything, then yeah, I guess so. Chris, is there anything about whispers that they don't have to do that?
I don't believe so. Let me double check. Actually, no, I do believe so. Let me double check.
Is it a special ability or something?
Is this resist roll like a standard resistance roll?
Yeah, and it'll be a resolve roll. Yeah.
2 stress.
Yeah, it's a special skill. I am going to flee.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
crit on the resist.
Nice.
Don't know if that does anything, but I'm
Don't
just
think so.
rolling all the
Resisted.
crits.
Yeah. Echo, how about you?
I failed.
What
So-
do you mean by fail? Because it's a resist roll, you can't fail.
Oh, I thought you roll 1 dice and then I got a 3 on it.
No,
So
it's like if you resist, you do resist. It's just what you roll affects how much stress you take.
So you take
Oh.
3 stress.
So I take 3 stress.
But should you have rolled 1 dice? What's your resolve?
Yeah.
What's your resolve?
I rolled 1 dice, and my resolve is 1. So.
Okay. Okay, so Oriel is currently attempting to flee up the spiral staircase, but the rest of you have managed to kind of hold on to yourselves for now. What are we doing?
I'm going to try and grab Oriel as they flee and hold them in place until they get a grip of their senses.
Yeah, Steve has asked. Sorry, Steve was asking about special ability. No, Chris already mentioned about the special abilities. He doesn't have that.
Yeah, I don't have the armor, and I don't have the Iron Will, which also does something similar, I think.
Yeah, Chris has Ghost Mind, which is a different one.
Not Ghost Minx, as I initially read it.
Not Ghost Minx, no. Okay, Bricks, what are you holding to try and restrain Oriel from fleeing? What are you rolling, rather? Not holding.
Smashing his legs down with the hammer.
I was going to say skirmish, just to get him in like a bit of a headlock.
Yeah, sure, that's perfectly
and
fine.
Rend them close.
Give me that PvP roll, please.
Oof.
So that's 3 dice. And my highest was a 3. I rolled 1, 2, and 3.
Nice.
Well then, I would say that was a desperate roll, by the way. So you can tick your
nice.
desperate thing for that. And I'm going to say that. That's pretty bad. Do you want to resist what's going to happen to you if you don't resist? Which is going to be that Oriel is going to barrel through you so hard that they tip you over the edge of the spiral staircase and into the black substance below.
I'm going to resist because I'll be rolling 3 dice, and I'm obviously going to get higher than a 3.
It'll be fine. Go for it.
Okay, my highest was a 4, so I take 2 stress.
Okay. Oriel is clattering up the spiral staircase overhead. Bricks, you're kind of like trying to hold position and not tip over the side. 3 sheets and Echo, what are we doing?
I'm going to roll.
Oh, yeah, go.
I'd like to roll a skirmish roll to quickly reload and fire.
Yeah, sounds good. I think what I'll do here, and I think is it a fair thing to like segregate? Like, yeah, I'll say that like
2 different rolls. I'm fine doing that.
No. You know what? I'll say if you roll a 6, you can reload and fire, and if you roll a 4 and a 5, you just reload, and then you have to do another roll. Does that sound fair?
I'm loving this.
Great. I have no devil's bargain for you. I don't know if you
What
want
if
to
I
push.
roll a 1?
Oh well, 1 through to 3 will all be fucked up. Obviously, I'd say this is a desperate situation as well. So you can also
Tick a point.
tick a point.
Yeah, I'm going to spend those points on my second level of skirmish as soon as possible.
Sure. Yeah. Are you pushing yourself or anything?
That's all I got.
What? Sorry.
I didn't push myself. No.
Okay. Oh, and did you get a 1?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
That's why I was asking.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. So I am going to your consequences for this are going to be
Maybe this bandolier splits and all of my ammunition pours down the stairs.
Yeah, I've got a cool idea for what could happen with that.
Right.
Yeah, sure. Let's have that. You're fumbling at the. Do you want to roll to resist it first of all?
Oh, would it be what kind of roll would it be? Prowess.
Prowess, I think. Yeah.
I've got 3 stress remaining. I could.
Yeah.
I can roll to resist. I'll roll to resist. Yeah.
Sure. Are we remembering we have 1 extra stress, by the way?
Yeah.
Chris might not know that. Chris, you have like an extra stress box, by the way, because they bought it.
Okay, that's good. So
I took 1 stress.
1 stress. Okay.
So that didn't happen.
Yeah. Your bandolier nearly bursts open, and you just managed to grab the bits left of it on the floor and pick it up. So you haven't reloaded, you haven't fired. Echo, what were you going to do?
I think seeing that everything is going to shit, I am saying this is over we need to get out of here. This is like, we can't, this is too far. So I think if there's any way I can try and the problem is I don't know if Bricks and Three Sheets are backing out or if they're continuing. But I'll try and help them get out if that is what they are trying to do, and if they're
You can
not,
shout, "Let's get out." That would be a good start.
Let's get, yeah. I mean, that's the
Well,
thing I'm doing.
let's just say, if you're shouting "Let's get out," this is kind of done here. How are Bricks and Three Sheets going to react to this? The creature overhead, the crackling and the intensity is increasing. You're feeling that pull on your weapons again, although Bricks is still holding it still. And you're shot through with primal fear of fight or flight about this thing that's slowly drifting down towards the foot of the spiral staircase where you are. Oriel's gone. The Whisperer's gone.
Is Marlene...
You cannot see Marlene.
I can't leave Marlene.
Three Sheets doesn't leave Bricks.
Oh, God, I didn't mean to do that. That was a sea shanty just popping up for you briefly there. So,
yeah, Three Sheets doesn't leave Bricks. Bricks doesn't leave Marlene. We're all in a we're in a quandary.
Okay,
sure,
so if you say I can't leave Marlene, and you obviously look resolute,
Bricks would shrug, terrified.
Then I will try and get the lightning rod, and I'm staying with you guys.
You're trying to see where the lightning hooks are,
yeah,
and try and recover them and
yeah.
go for it. Sure.
I can't.
Well, if you want to find where they are, what role are you going to use for that?
I'm going to survey.
Mm-hmm.
I can't push myself. So yeah, I'm just rolling one dice. That was a 5.
Okay. Yeah, let's say that you can indeed see the lightning hooks, and the lightning hooks are literally kind of from your perspective where you are, as you're blinking and trying to look directly into the heart of this thing, the lightning hooks are kind of almost jittering and slightly spinning around inside it, as if the form of the thing, the map, what you can see isn't maybe the actual outline of the thing. It's projecting some kind of field all around it, and at the heart of it is some kind of energy drawing the lightning hooks in and causing them to just spin and crazily rotate around in place. You think that if you put one foot on the handrail of the spiral staircase and leapt as hard as you could, maybe you could grab onto it.
Is that prowl?
But you would be flinging yourself very close indeed.
Sounds like a daredevil being.
I don't see many other choices. Okay, that's what I'll go for. I'll try and a desperate leap for the
What's
the lightning
rolling? And this is a desperate. I've just put you in a desperate situation. That was your
don't you have that daredevil ability?
So.
I do. So I can get one dice to my roll if I also take -1 dice to any resistance rolls. This seems like an appropriate time for that.
Yep. And what action roll are you making for it?
I guess it's prowl. So
yeah, I mean, it could be a number of things. Yeah, I think you could also take finesse to try and you're trying to leap and get a hold of a thing that's difficult, and also maybe activate it as you're doing so and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, either is fine. I have the same skill in either. I guess it is kind of an athletics feat, but it's also a precision thing.
It's up to you.
I think it's finesse because I'm trying to I'm trying to grab a thing that is moving incredibly quickly, and I have to be really precise.
Yeah. So you get that, and so you take the extra die from is that your special ability, the daredevil thing?
Yeah, daredevil thing. Unfortunately, because I'm on 8 stress, I can't push myself.
Can't push yourself.
If I see what Echo is is attempting, like as she looks towards the handrail and then up at the lightning rods, I will sort of half crouch and hold my sledgehammer out, ready as a platform to fling
Like,
you up
heave
while an
you up.
assistance die.
Yeah.
Wow.
There we go. There's an assistance die.
Okay, thank
And obviously
you.
take the stress for that, please, Bricks. And yeah, obviously take your XP tick for this desperate roll as well, please, Pierre.
Okay, I'm rolling. Oh my. Okay, I rolled a 4 as my highest result on 5 dice.
Hey,
What?
it's something. So Echo, you step on Brick's sledgehammer. Bricks, you heave up, and Echo goes flying, pitching through the mostly dark air. Echo, you feel like your heart is ripping its way out of your chest as you're flying towards this thing. Its maw opens and the jaw kind of distends far longer than it should, than any human should. And as you reach out, you feel your fingertips slide around the cool metal of the lightning hooks, and you desperately, like as you're just hanging through the air from it, run your fingertips along and flick whatever. There's a switch. You just flick the switch. You don't know what it does. You have zero idea. You can feel that coruscating lightning off the skin, the ectoplasm of the thing just running down your body, and you can smell the unpleasant scent of your own flesh cooking slightly. And then you click it, and all you know is the lightning stops and you start to fall. You crash down on the ground underneath, and you feel the dark, sludgy fluid of whatever it is start to like wrap up over you and crawl along your skin, crawling towards your open mouth as you open it to scream. And then a powerful fist reaches in, drags you out. You're sort of vaguely aware, as your eyes are rolling towards the back of your head, of Marlene slinging you over her shoulder, trudging back up and onto the spiral staircase, and out of the bowels of the ship. Can you take severe harm, please, and just call it that level 3 harm, and just call it severe burns?
Okay. Yeah.
You can always roll to resist.
You can roll to resist,
but
that could tip you over into a third trauma.
I think I'm taking my severe harm, my burns, because I don't think that there's a way.
3 sheets and Bricks, the being is like latched into the lightning hooks on the ground, kind of like writhing and screaming, the most human-like sound you've heard any of these things make. Marlene thrusts Echo towards you and says, over the top of it, just go. I'll be out in a few minutes.
If you're not, we're coming back for you. I'll take Echo.
Not. She wheels round and starts walking towards the lightning hooks, kind of jittering along the floor with the being now almost looking like something else, like something not human, as it reels and screams on the floor in the grips of the lightning hooks. A few minutes later, as you reach the deck, you find Oriel there looking ashamed and still trembling.
Boom.
The leader of the Grinders, Derek, standing nearby, kind of with a worried expression on his face, and you heave Echo up, moaning and steaming slightly to the surface of the deck. You all stand around, perplexed and waiting for a few minutes before you hear footsteps clanging down the corridor beneath you, and then hands and feet clanging up the ladder. Marlene pulls herself to the surface of the deck, kind of walks, reeling slightly over to the very edge of it, and you see her vomiting copiously over the side. Whatever comes out is dark, black, sludgy material.
Cool.
And I think we'll end the score there.
Spicy.
So, So, I think we'll hop and we'll do our downtime quite quickly this time because we are running a bit late. But we're used to that with these single shot scores now. But yeah, there we go. We got there in the end. So for our downtime, first off is our payoff. It's 2 rep by default. You didn't tangle with a like higher tier power of any kind, so it's just 2 rep. 2 rep for the keepers. As for your coin, I'd say it's pretty standard pay for this. I'd say 6 coin.
Okay.
6
And
coin.
that's 2 to the grinders and 1 to the wraiths.
Correct. So that's 3
That's
coin.
3 coin.
Yep. How's that getting split up?
You look over at Echo's charred body.
And I'm guessing Marlene's pay is separate to that, right?
Yeah, Marlene's pay will be separate. Oriel's won't be, though.
No. Well,
How much more coin can the keepers... Do the keepers have any coin already?
yeah, the keepers have 3 coin.
Then maybe the answer is to reduce the keeper's coin to 2 and give you a coin each.
Yep.
But it's up to you. That's just my suggestion.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let's do that.
Yeah, all
Yeah.
right.
All right. Everyone takes a coin, and John popped 2 coin into the keeper's stocks. Heat. You didn't do anything illegal. I mean, maybe illegal salvage, but I don't think anyone noticed. Do you know what? I think that's 0 heat.
Cool. It's not going to be quite 0 heat, but never mind.
A lot of heat for Echo. Absolutely. So let's look at entanglements. So your wanted level is 2, right?
Correct.
Is it? But you got no heat. So that is going to be that.
God, that on it.
If that boy stabbed someone again.
Shut up!
Yes!
No, he can't have done.
Come,
Surely,
come it,
no, I mean, I wouldn't do it again.
We'll find out.
Yeah, when he
I'm-
laughs like that.
I mean,
Sorry, I'm just rolling an extra something. Yeah, that's fine.
Jokes are always funnier the 3rd time you tell them.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Sorry. Yeah, there we go. That'll do.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's move to our downtime activity, shall we? Justin, do you want to say something?
Do you want me to tell you what I do for the whole thing?
Yeah, go for it.
So I do 2 stress relief things. I relieve 10 stress. I have 9 stress, so I overindulge and take 2 heat.
Okay, great stuff. So let's say that's your usual Red Lantern brothel. Let's say that in your the days you spend afterwards de-stressing yourself from this, quite understandably so, that maybe you end up babbling a bit incoherently to the people around you about
Echo
the
stole some
activities
cool
of the keepers.
shit a few weeks ago.
Exactly. Exactly, and that brings a little more heat than you intended onto the keepers. As for the other folks we have here, Pierre, why don't you tell us what you can give us both downtime activities or just the one, and then we can come back later. It's up to you.
I think I need because I have such bad burns. I actually don't know if I can heal myself. Like, is it an activity that I can do? Go to heal. Okay. So
other people can take you, even if, or they can bring red silk.
I spend a coin to increase the effect as well.
Yeah.
I
make the roll first.
I think I will do that. So what do I need to roll in order to?
You just roll the keeper's tier, which is just 1 die.
Okay, so it's 1 die, and then I can add to that later.
Yes, after you've rolled it.
Okay, I rolled a 4.
Okay, so a 4 would add 2 segments to your healing clock. If you want, you can spend a coin to, or a rep, right? I think rep or a coin to increase. Oh no, just a coin.
Yeah,
a coin or a rep is to get an extra activity. A coin to increase that to 3 segments of your healing clock.
Can other people pay coin?
I'll pay a coin.
I don't see why not.
We can give a coin to Echo to do it. Yeah.
Surely you
Seeing
must
as
have a
how-
coin. You just got given a coin.
I do.
Yes, but because you stayed because we stayed, and I stayed because Marlene stayed. So as far as I consider it, you were looking out for my mate.
You're
Aw.
so
All right.
nice. Okay. thank
All
you.
right then. So
Take the coin.
that's 3 segments of your healing clock.
Okay.
Done. I don't know if you had any left over from another occasion.
I don't. So my second activity is going to be healing.
Going back again. Yeah, going
Um,
back again. That's just another roll then.
So I will roll again, and I got a 4 again, which
Okay.
fills that clock, and then
It fills the clock and adds another one onto it because that won't heal you fully, right? Because now your severe burns are going to move down to level 2 and be like mild burns or whatever.
Don't you also need to indulge your vice because of your traumas?
I do, otherwise
but you
bad
can
consequences.
Take another downtime activity for that, for a coin or a rep.
So I will do that for a coin.
Okay. Well, before we do that, shall we focus? Sorry, on the healing and the harm there. So, is the only harm you have the severe burns?
No, I also had a black eye, but that was on the lowest tier. So
Okay,
I think
so that's
heals.
gone. And now severe burns can be changed to like burns and just be on
recovery burns
level
or
2. Yeah.
Treating burns.
So then, it sounds like you need to. So, are you spending a coin or a rep to take another downtime activity?
A coin.
A coin, then do a stress recovery, please.
Okay, and that's just I roll my
Your lowest resistance,
my lowest resistance, which is
I
1.
believe.
So I got 2.
Okay.
Oof.
So
I'm pretty
you
stressed
recover
out.
2 stress. Still pretty stressed out, but there we go. With the briefest of sessions at Traven's Smoke Shop, still haunted by the smell of your own burning flesh and all that ghost stuff. So next up, Bricks, what are you doing?
So, first thing, I'm reducing the heat that Justin inflicted
Thank you.
because of our ability to take -1 heat.
Yeah.
And I'm doing stress relief, and I rolled a 6. So that is betting at the fighting pits again.
Well, let me tell you, Marlene has been fighting with a barely restrained fury since returning. So all the money you've put down on her is coming up good. Hence the intense stress relief you've been getting from that. Next, what are you doing?
Does Marlene seem okay?
No, Marlene is fighting with a barely restrained fury since returning. No, Marlene does not seem okay. Does not
Right.
seem in a particularly good mood with you. Not in a kind of she's not your friend anymore kind of way, but you don't think she massively appreciated being dragged into that situation and having to do whatever she did in the bowels of the ship.
I would like to start a long-term project to make it up for her, because I thought that was going to be an easy job, and it ended up doing something undescribable.
Sure. So you start a project for me with repairing bridges with Marlene, and I think that is going to be a 6 segment clock. And what are you going to roll for it this time?
Well, most of our friendship
minute.
has evolved from us beating the shit out of each other, so skirmish does make sense.
No, yeah, that's fine. The beatings will literally continue until morale improves.
I rolled my hazard is 5.
Okay, so that is 2 segments on that clock with Marlene. You definitely build up a bit more of your old rapport with her while doing some sparring, but there's still a little way to go.
She's also beating the crap out of you.
Yeah, probably. Chris, what's Oriel doing in his downtime?
Healing and indulging in some vices, I think.
Okay. Well, let's take care of those vices first. And that's your vices are down in the grotto, right? Doing nefarious supernatural things. So, you'll roll your lowest resistance for that for me, please.
My lowest resistance is insight, so that's 2 dice, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
A 6.
Okay, so repair 6 stress. Maybe your experiences there. Maybe you work away the shame of your racing away from the supernatural manifestation by going and learning more about it. So maybe next time it won't freak you out quite so much.
For the record, I am entirely passing the shame off as a tactical retreat.
Sure, yeah,
and we'll
yeah.
talk at length about the reasons for it if pushed.
You were going back to look for your other lightning hooks.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very sensible idea.
Yeah. For the healing, then, just roll 1 die for that, please. The keepers have their own healer who doesn't seem particularly fond of them, but does work for them out of a begrudging sense of obligation.
So much.
I rolled a 5.
Called Red Silks. So if you look on your, did you already have any harm or healing?
I did. I only have the
bad back
level bad back, singed hand, harms.
And did you have anything on your healing clock, which is next to your harm?
I have not started a healing clock.
Okay, in that case, you can go ahead and add 2 segments to that healing clock. Yeah. Is anyone purchasing any extra activities with extra coin or rep?
I think I am going to go and get a second opinion on that healer. Maybe follow some of my own resources.
Sure, yeah. That's just another roll then, please.
Yeah. I think
another 5 magic.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I think I'm also going to try and spend another coin on more Traven.
And don't forget to spend either a coin or one of the keeper's rep on that, Chris.
Just a coin.
Yes, that fills up your healing clock, Chris. And did you just have the 2 level 1 harms?
I did, yes.
They're gone, completely healed. And Echo, what are you? How did you do?
I got a 5 this time, so
that's 2 segments on your next heal.
And
so there we go.
I'm going to go another round with Marlene.
Okay.
Skirmish again?
Yep.
6.
Nice.
6. So that is 3 segments. So you're very nearly there. You feel like you've put in the time and mostly repaired your friendship there. And as you're sort of, you're walking back along Silkshore away from the direction of some of the fighting pits that are further south near the prison, you find yourself walking up the stone steps of the lighthouse and just emerging from there, hunched over with his usual little obsequious, wizened smile, is Odgar, the leader of your rovers, and he turns to you and with a sort of doffs his cap and with a kind of apologetic little smirk on his face says, "Just a labourer this time, Master Bricks. No one dangerous."
Oh my god.
Nicholas has killed someone else in a tavern brawl. This boy is out of control. Labourers are a faction. You should find them on the keeper's sheet, and you have exactly the same option with them as you had the last time he did this. So, in other words, this is what you can do. You either lose face by apologizing to a representative of the laborers, and which will forfeit 2 rep. You make an example of Nicholas, or you face, or their attitude towards you will go down. The laborers.
If he was no one dangerous, he wasn't worth stabbing, was he?
No, I completely agree. I think Three Sheets feels that he has been the one who has been defending Nicholas all this time, and so it's only fair that he is the one who makes an example of him by thoroughly beating the crap out of him. It was my fault that this has been allowed to go out of hand for so long. I've been defending Nicholas, and so I that's my vote. Is that Three Sheets will make an example out of Nicholas in a personally humiliating way that will no doubt cause a huge rift to develop between us, eventually leading to him stabbing me in a bar.
I like the idea that you like,
as is his want.
You're just like beating him, and he has no reaction at all. Just like a terrifyingly hard man. Who were like, "Oh yeah, he's just an innocent little boy."
Is this what we're going with in general?
That's just my vote. You can do what you like.
I think we've explicitly told him stop killing people, and he keeps killing people.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Time.
Yeah, 3 sheets.
Yeah,
I can't see you doing this in a formalized way. I can.
No.
What I have in my head is the next time he walks into the lighthouse, you just fucking jump him.
I don't think. I think I go and do it in public. I go and do it in one of the bars. You know, where
Okay.
he's done.
Yeah,
you know, where
yeah,
he's
sure.
done this, like yeah, like
We could say then that
Yeah.
Brix relays this in the lighthouse, and you literally leave and
Yeah.
go find him in a bar by the docks. You walk in. He's drinking quietly by himself at a table, just a faint little smile on his face. He's a tall, fairly normal-looking lad, quite rangy. And as you walk up to him, you can see he just has like a little spatter of blood on his clothes, which is almost certainly not his. I think it's safe to say 3. And interrupt me and tell me what you do instead. But in my head, I have you just walking up to him without even noticing you're there. You just drag one of your flintlocks from a holster, flip it round, and just start pistol whipping him on the ground.
Yeah, sounds great.
In full view of everyone. And
Yeah.
as Pierre says, he doesn't make a sound.
Brilliant.
So-
I can see it's going badly for me in no ways.
That is the end of our session. We ran along again. I can see us running along fairly consistently in Blades in the Dark for the next while we do this once single scoring downtime. Hopefully that's okay for you at home. Hopefully it's okay for my players. I think if it wasn't, they would have told me already by now. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you've got any comments or questions, please sling them in the chat and we'll bring them up and talk about them. In the meantime, a little bit of promo. There are links down below, links to Twitch and YouTube. You're watching on one. Please check out the other and give us a follow and a subscribe and all that good stuff. There are links to our social media. You can follow us there on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. There's links to our Discord where you can join up and talk to us about all things roleplay, all things telling tales. Links to our Patreon where you can support us in return for tasty treats. Links to Chris's cute little friend there, of course. And yeah, we run 3 weekly series at the moment. Call of Cthulhu on Mondays, Blades in the Dark on Tuesdays, and Simbroom on Wednesdays. Although, as a note, we will not be running Simbroom tomorrow because we are taking part in a day off Twitch strike as solidarity towards folks affected by hate raids. But we'll be back next week for more Simbroom. We also run monthly one-shots. The next one of those is on Saturday, September 11th. And we'll be running Dungeon World, or more specifically, Pierre down there will be running Dungeon World, so please join us for that. That's it. That's all the promo. I don't have to promo other stuff anymore because
Thanks, Matt.
everything's running. Thank you. Have we got anything in chat, Steve? One from, I don't know who Jellyfriend could be. So can anyone run the Twitch analytics numbers on how many times coruscating has been used this month on the platform? Not enough. It's one of my favorite words.
It's a good
I
word.
use
I
it
don't
at
know what it
every
means.
opportunity.
I don't even know what it means.
Just
But you
sounds
do
good,
from
though.
how it sounds, don't you? It's great.
It's good.
2 of my favorite words: coruscating, and I also use cerulean far more than I probably should.
It's good.
Cerulean's a nice word.
Cerulean's a good word, isn't
Nice
it?
colour too.
You cannot use it in Blades in the Dark. Nothing's blue in Blades in the Dark,
Woody
apart from
word.
spooky blue. Anything else, Steve?
Oh man. Looks like. Yeah.
You're not bringing up your last comment, Steve, which I really enjoy.
What's that?
Steve's indicating a new follower.
Look at it.
Hang on, I'll bring it up. Drop his
God,
nose in
no.
the next corpse he creates. Bad, Nicholas. This is the only way you'll learn. We have a new follower tonight. Shattergat the Black. Welcome aboard. Your name is ludicrous, but you probably already know that. So yeah, thanks, folks. Thanks to everyone watching. Thanks to Steve, our wonderful stream manager. Thanks to the players, and we'll see you next week for more Blades in the Dark. Catch you later. Take care. Stay safe.